I want to thank you all for coming. This is Divine Lecture. I haven't had a chance to speak in a while. I was sick for about a month, so I haven't been able to put no pieces out like I want to. But thanks to the Divine Black Goddesses here, I've been nursed back to health off my deathbed. Sister Kali, Goddess Nubia, Goddess Lunar brought me back. So I'm resurrected. I'm Osiris. I just completed the whole resurrection story in about a month. So I'm back 1,000% right now, and I'm here to turn up the heat completely. And if it's too hot, some people just gonna have to get the hell up out this black supremacist kitchen because we're about to cook. So the name of this particular lecture, this is a unique title because a lot of my titles of my lectures tend to be in the same category. So within the last month, I've had a deep meditation and a lot of insightful experiences that have allowed me to come up with a very relevant and radical topic. I've been watching everything that has been going on, contemplating it, looking at it with deep insight to really prophesize with this particular piece and talk about where we're at right now, where humanity is at, and where we need to be at, and where our position should be at as black supremacists and as the overall conscious community. The name of this particular lecture is called The End of the Persecution of the Righteous Black Supremacists. I'm going to run that title back again because it's a little long. The End of the Persecution of the Righteous Black Supremacists. Now, that's an interesting topic because I started a group called the 144,000 Black Supremacist Group. Black Supremacist Hippie Group on Facebook. And in that group, you have three categories into one. You got the Black Supremacist, which is a category. The Black Supremacist is just a person who has declared themselves as a Black Supremacist and are studying the path of unfolding, of realizing what Black Supremacy is, what it means and what it stands for. So they declare themselves, they're on a journey. The militant one is the person who has got to a point in their journey where they can stand wholeheartedly and absolutely on the premise of Black Supremacy in the face of all, in any particular situation or circumstance. That's the militant Black supremacist. And the hippie is neither militant nor really a Black supremacist, but is the residence, meaning that the government of Black supremacy has set up a space where it's a very liberated space for people to grow, develop, heal, learn about themselves, manifest culture freedom. It has become a space for that. It has become a superior space for that. So we have people that come and learn and study that are not really Black supremacists and not really militant. And those are the hippies. The hippies are the people that, this is a better society because of the liberalness of it. It creates it's a better space for people to evolve and have culture freedom in what I'm calling the Black supremacist empire. We got the best space for that. So that's the resident. That's people who are just coming, who are traveling or going through different experiences, need a space to stay, where they're not persecuted and under attack and exploited. This is a superior space for them to stay and contribute their positive energy in how they see fit to help move, manifesting this divine reality along. So, the Black supremacists, I covered the Black supremacists, the militant and the hippie, that all make one people, because we're all one people. We're all one person in different stages of the game. So we are all one. So it's not to create classifications or divisions, but to create distinctions where everyone can feel comfortable, inside of what we're building, and not have the unnecessary pressures of being a part of this, that, or the other. Because this is a service, this is a divine service that we are providing for our people, that we plan on going. And it is a service for our people. Not those that are just Black supremacists, but just superior service for our community. That is our ultimate objective. For those of us who are Black supremacists, to get to that perspective to even provide more superior service. So, the righteous persecution of the Black supremacists, and then I gotta break down what a Black supremacist is before I can talk about the end of the persecution of the righteous Black supremacists. Now, I broke down those categories because the hippie is going to ultimately end up a black supremacist if they black. That's going to be their journey anyway. You got people out here that don't realize that they are black supremacists. It won't be until they try what they go through in their lives and the persecution that they experience in society by being melanated beings. Whether they are aware of why it is happening or not aware of why it's happening, it's still happening. They try to stand up and be themselves, saying no to the system, saying no to imperialism, saying no to capitalism, saying no to being under these entities, because somewhere deep in themselves they know they're better than that. They're better than being exploited, being slaves, being Negroes, and being coons. In their heart, they know they are better than this. They have never got to the point of black supremacy. Some of them have an historical understanding of who they are and a genetic understanding of who they are. They say that the black man is superior in genetics, superior DNA, that we're the original people, but they have not all amounted this to mean black supremacy for themselves. It just means that there's something unique about us and that we are original, but they haven't evolved it to the point to stand on that we are supreme beings. So it's a lot of people out there like that, wandering around studying this and that book, but it's not necessarily evolving to something. They're not ending up at a point that only circumstances and conditions will determine whether they will be refined in standing in that particular shining position. Now, the black supremacist is in the heart of every black person that is seeking the knowledge of themselves, trying to find out who they are. It's in their heart because when they really walk the journey and move through that journey, they're going to find a supreme being on the end of that journey. Each and every one of them, through all the books that they study. Where they're at in the process is the question. Where they're going to end up is obvious. So we got people saying that we don't deal with black supremacy. But we do believe that black people are the original beings and that we are genetically superior to other races. And we are more in tune with nature. We're loved by the sun. We're kissed by the sun more. So we're more of a natural people. They will agree on these things. But if we say black supremacy, they'll say, no, I can't go that far. Well, you just said it. The difference is one statement requires you to stand in something, and the other statement requires you just to kind of know about something. See, when you can stand in something, you get authority. Authority comes from any position you can stand in. If you can't stand in nothing, you don't have any authority. A historical fact is not authority. A genetic fact is not authority. It's where conscious entities choose to stand on become the authority that they possess in their lives and within their community and within society. So we don't have any authority as a people, as a conscious community, because we really aren't standing on anything absolutely. So we are persecuted for one, not realizing who we are. We like the Christ-like beings or the Jesus-like beings that don't realize that we are the Messiah. None of us will stand on what we are. We just argue it. We just debate, and then we go to the cafes and the little poetry sets, and we just talk about this among ourselves. We don't stand in it in society. We don't stand in that these things are true. The white man stood in something when he had the Declaration of Independence and said we hold these truths to be self-evident, right? That this white God created all people equal. He's standing in that fact. And that's how he declared his independence, right? From other governments and other nations. So some men had to stand on it, right? Some women had to stand in something. They had to get clear on what they was about, who they were, and then stand in it. That's what we lack as a conscious community of black people. We're not standing in nothing. Everything is a struggle for something, an attempt of something. The need to explain something, the need to break something down, the need to further investigate something. But I don't see nobody standing for a goddamn thing within our community. And that's our problem. We don't even know what to stand for. The path is so obscure of what it's really about and where it's all leading to. People don't even know what to stand for. So they go on debating and questioning and studying and reading endless books and going on endless websites. But at the end of the day, they must submit to what every other Negro that don't know have to submit to. Am I right? They have to go to get a job. They have to send their children to the white man's school. They have to pay rent, pay for their storefront. They have to do business the way the white man says do business. Am I right? So what's the difference? The difference is they just got some historical information and no stance. So the black supremacist is one who could stand. Some of us were born with a certain amount of authority where we rebelled against the system anyway. We rejected it. It was something in us that was just so divine and so powerful. We could not entertain being subdued or subjugated to white supremacy, not even for a second, before we even had the words to describe it, before we could even define it, before we read any book. There was just something in us that just could not go along with it. That was the black supremacists. So as we begin on studying, going on spiritual journeys and reading books and going from this spiritual organization possibly to that one and trying to do the numerology on it and trying to do the astrology on it, just try to figure this thing out. What's going on with this thing? What is so weird about this? What's so strange about this scenario? What's so strange about my life? And the more they study and reject, assimilating, coalescing to white supremacy, the more they reject being caught up in the system, the more struggles that they attract to themselves, the more resistant type of situations, the more conflicts, the more arguments, the more challenges with their family starting to become that lost sheep, right, of the family. Because they just can't go along with it. And the challenges keep hitting them. Two things happen. They get so far in it, they break down and just go ahead and get into the system completely. Just completely break down. I'm going to get me a job. Forget it. I'm going to go along. You can't beat them, join them, right? Then you got another person that says, I'm still going to get in the system. I'm just going to do it Afrocentrically. Right? I'm going to find an Afrocentric way to still go along with slavery. Okay? You slaves got chains around your neck. I'm a slave with a dashiki on. You hear me? So they're going to find an Afrocentric way with an afro and locks to be a slave. And then you got another one that say, no, I can't do that one either. No, that one, no, we got to conquer. We must succeed, right? We must have victory. So then that other person can't do the Afrocentric Dajiki from Marshall Fields or Masons. Right? He can't do that one. He can't be subjected. She can't be subjected to just coalescing and going with the system. So she keeps going along and more forces come against her. It's like the movie They Live. These entities is coming at them like saying, you don't know what's going on. You're supposed to have been subjugated by now. You still seeing? You still got your eyes open at this point? So they draw more forces to them for not coalescing and not giving in and not being subdued. So the more they persist and continue to fight against those forces, a superhero starts to get made. Do y'all hear me? This supreme entity, this superior human entity starts to be refined out of this. Out of what was obscure, out of what was confusion, out of what was a struggle, out of what was fighting to be yourself in a society, in a system that was telling you that you got to be somebody else. They persisted in all that. And then through that persistence and through the resistance came a stronger existence. I'm going in now. Something in them that was practically indestructible and invincible began to manifest. Something solid, something unmovable, unbreakable began to manifest inside of this human being. And when they manifested as that, they became something now that can overpower the subjugation. Now they have become something that can fight against the forces that seek to stomp them out. It's like a reggae song that I heard where it says, kill them before they grow, the youth, the children. They survive all of the attacks to take them down, each and every one of them, from drugs to white supremacists, workaholics to professional students, to just a nigga on welfare that don't care about nothing but just, did my link card work or not? You know what I'm saying? To the wealthy Negroes that's just wealthy and just trying to live individualistically to achieve wealth for themselves. They defeated that one. And a being of great compassion and of great awakening that care about more than themselves. That could fight for more than themselves. That can organize the victims and those who have been bullied to become a strong, superior force against those who have bullied them. This is what was happening in the process. It was an old saying that what doesn't break you will make you strong. So what was not breaking this entity was inevitably making that entity stronger. The growth The climax of that individual's growth is what we call the black supremacist. The entity, because when we say black supremacy, some people are thinking racism, right? That we just hate white people. No, when we say the black supremacist, we mean the supreme entity that is inside of the black person that can overcome any challenges, situations, and circumstances. Something that is so supreme and superior over negativity, right? Superior over the negative forces, negative consciousness, and negative thoughts of this universe. That's what we talk about the black supremacists. They have overcome all of the negativities in man. All the negativities that are caused by man, created by themselves, man against man, man against nature, man against himself. They have overcome all of these obstacles. That's the black supremacy. That's what we mean when we say black supremacy. Now it happened that our major enemy as a black people has been this cracker. That's not our fault. If trees fell on our whole community, we would just have to lift them up, right? Because they're trees. And we would hate that them damn trees crush all of our houses. Am I correct? And as supremacists, we would have to go out and be more supreme than the forces of nature, right? To put our community back together. That would be a black supremacist too. What so happened, it ain't no goddamn trees that didn't fell on our houses. It ain't no tornadoes that have swept through our communities. It's this goddamn blonde hair, blue-eyed cracker that has messed up our community. Am I correct? And he continues to go and mess up the planet and mess up African people everywhere he sees them because they don't realize the supremeness in themselves to overcome him and anything else. So it's the white man, comma, and anything else too. Because we got to overcome what's in the Negro that's keeping himself down. We got to overcome what is in the Negro that has us oppress ourselves and keeps ourselves in limited boxes. And it has us to seek to kill, steal, and destroy from one another. We have to become superior over that one too. That's a reality. So it's not a one-dimensional thing. It's just the strongest dimension that is working on us. The hardest dimension that is coming at us happens to be the European. Unarguably. The one putting the drugs in the community, the one putting the guns in the community, the ones that's walking around with badges, committing police brutality, that's filling up the prisons with jails, that's the prison industrial complex, it's locking black people up. What does that entity happen to be? And in the Occupy Wall Street, they talk about the 1%. Well, why is 99% of the 1% white and 1% of that 99% black? Do you hear me? 99% of the 1% is white, is crackers. That's a reality. So they happen to be, because of them, coincidentally, if you want to say it's not divine, coincidentally they happen to be the ones fucking up everything. So if we're going to become the supreme beings that we are, what is the first thing that we have to overcome? White supremacy. Exactly. That's just the reality of it. Not, let's go find white people just because we hate them and just deal with them. No, they're going to show up. Keep talking about black supremacy. Keep talking about I'm not going to be no slave. I'm not going to be under you. I'm not going to pay you nothing. I don't give a fuck about you. I care about my own people. I'm free. I'm liberated. I was free yesterday. I realized it today. And see who show up. See who we're going to have to, who we're going to have to show and prove that to. Now the biggest issue is not the white man that is the cause of this. But he is the obstacle to overcome as due to this. You feel what I'm saying? The cause of this is us. Because we have not realized who we are. We have not tapped into the supremeness of ourselves. Once we tap that, he's easy. There's nothing he can do to stop us. He has no power over us. When we become deliberate in our mind, deliberate in our creation, and deliberate in the realization of who we are, nothing and nobody can stop us. No race, creed, or color. But we first got to realize that we are supreme beings. And realizing that you are a supreme being is not enough. After you realize it, you must become a black supremacist. One that stands on it. You follow? Everybody that say they realize that they are a black supreme being is not a black supremacist. There's a lot of groups out there saying, I'm the supreme being. God, I'm a supreme being. But can you stand on it though? Because if you're a supreme being, then you can rule. If you're a supreme being, you don't have to be under the white man. You can stand on it in the face of everything. You don't have to be a supreme being among this little clique of this group of people that you know. You're a supreme being. But when you're next to Johnny, you're unemployed. Right? When you're next to Johnny, you're a student of your super intelligent college professor, but don't have the supreme wisdom to know that the black man is God. You're a student then. So you're relatively a supreme being. You realize you're one, but you cannot stand in it 24 hours out of the day. So realizing you're a supreme being is not enough. You must stand in the face of all situations and circumstances. You are taking authority over your life, authority over the circumstances and situations that occur in your life, authority of your community, your neighborhood, and authority over this planet. And you're standing in that. We're not waiting on nothing. We're not waiting on no Jesus to come back. We're not waiting on nobody to save us. We're not even waiting on black people to wake up. We're taking action. You follow? Of being who we are and showing the difference in who we realize ourselves to be. And we're not taking nothing. And we're not standing for anything. And we have zero tolerance. You feel me? Zero tolerance of that which cannot recognize the supremacy of who we are. Those who have a learning curve, slow learners, they're going to get it very quick because that's who we are. So we can stand on that 24 hours a day. That's the black supremacist. So this evolved from people that were nomadic, realizing that there's nowhere for you to go. Everywhere in this society wants to subject you. Everywhere in this society wants to exploit you. It wants to steal your time and lock you into whatever it got going on. That's everywhere you go. Sell this to me. This is this business. We need you to do this and do that. Nothing wants you to manifest the totality of who you are. The black supremacist is when you come to the point and you absolutely realize that and you stand for it. Let me give you an example. Many of us were vegetarians. The way of the black supremacist. The vegetarian and vegan diet. You go into the conscious community, you see everybody's a vegan, vegetarian, raw foodist. That's the majority of people within the conscious community. Some people do a little fish, eggs, milk, possibly. But the majority, vegetarians. But if you see the community where we're at, the vegetarian is persecuted. Am I right? Everywhere you go, every place caters to meat. Every place you go, you look stupid if you ask for a vegetable. You asking for vegetables? They call security for asking for a vegetable. We have allowed that. We want to teach our children and they have their own education and forget the white supremacist educational paradigm. Forget all that. Where can we go with that? Wherever you go, your children are being taught white supremacy. We say, what the hell with Christianity? We don't believe in no mystery God, and we're never going to bow down to no gay, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Peckerwood. We're never going to bow down to no white picture of Jesus Christ or believe some mythical story written by some flaming homosexual that they call King James. We're never going to bow down to that. But where can you go? You're subjected to this everywhere you go. Everybody's, are you a Christian? You're a Christian? We have not laid our consciousness down. The conscious community has not laid its consciousness down in no community, in no society, nowhere. You got all type of parties. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party, this political party, that political party. But consciousness, we're subjected to all of them. What the hell are we conscious of other than being subjected? If we're conscious of the divine power that we have to create change, that's a black supremacist. That means you have the highest authority. You're in the highest position to manifest change in your world, in this reality. Not talk about it, not conversate about it, not go to meetings about it, not vote about it, but stand for it to change and stand for nothing else. Then we'll see it happening in our community. Then we'll see a black town. Then we'll see a community that caters to black people that are spiritual, that are enlightened, that don't want to be a part of the muck and mire and the mediocrity of Babylonianism, modern day Babylonianism. We'll see a society that will manifest like that if we can stand for it. We don't stand for it, we just become nomadic victims that are ran through the earth here, there, and to and fro. So the black supremacist is at a point in their realization where they are ready to stand wholeheartedly for what they know to be true against all. Not just saying these are my ideas and these are my opinions and everybody has their own and those are yours. And you know what happens with that attitude? Our opinions and ideas are swept under the rug, right? And everybody else in the society that we live in. And we are the minority and they are the majority. Because we don't have the authority to go and wake anybody else up. What we want to see manifest in the world is not going to manifest until we take the authority to create it. Authority is a scary word for some people. But it's the opposite of being a victim. It's the opposite of being ran around, of being punked, of being sissified, of being pacified. You know what I'm saying? It's the opposite. We got to have some authority. Everywhere we go, we allow white supremacy and white supremacist-minded Negro to take it over. We allow them to come in with their ideology and take it over. So we can't have a long-lasting conscious anything. That has to change. That's the job of the black supremacist. Solid and ready to fight and stand for what they know to be true, without question and without doubt. These conscious people don't want to fight for nothing. Not because they're weak, but if you don't stand for nothing, you have nothing to fight for. So you lose everything, every single time. The fool is very, very confident. The fool is confident in their position. And their confidence overrides even the righteous. Because they're so confident in their position. Am I right? They're solid in that foolishness. And that's why foolishness continues to run mayhem. Until we can stand against it. So when I say the end of the persecution of the righteous black supremacists, we are now beginning to see who we are as righteous. Do you hear me? We play this game when we get off into our thing because we're weak. We say, oh, there really ain't no real right or wrong. It's all relative. Everything is relative. But our relativity deteriorates. And our relativity is disintegrating. And the only relative that we get to experience with that attitude is white supremacy. Am I right? We get more of those, we get more of that relative. Our relative is missing from the whole equation. It is not a relative. Black supremacy is righteous. It is the true and only righteousness for the black man and the black woman. Why? It's righteous because it's righteous that this world be just with us. So it's righteous. It's just that they be right with us. Am I correct? And it's right that they be just and just that they be right. It's righteous. Until we can stand in that, we're always going to be wavering. We talk to people about capitalism. We can't agree to disagree with people that have different ideas. They get the last word. You understand what I'm saying? Because for one, we have not developed our understanding and become solid enough to stand against those things. So they win. They supersede. And the things that we should be smashing, the ideas and opinions that we should be smashing, people feel like they should be right. Why is that? Why is the ideas that we should be smashing, people feel like they're right? They feel like they're right in those positions. Because we are the ones that are subdued and just say, well, okay. And then when the forces of that ignorance raise up and overpower us, then we feel like we have been victimized. Then we feel like we're in a negative situation. But if we had stood first and foremost with our principles and ideas and what we stand on, then we would have got a better response from the universe. As long as we let white supremacy and a white supremacist mindset think that it can walk over us, wherever we are at, it will continue to do so. That is the only reason that it is doing it. The only reason that we are in our community being subjected to what is going on is because we allow it to, and we don't stand. We hide in the crevices. We hide with our positions like we're wrong or like we're the witches, right? We're the ones with the alternative reality. No, you are doing what is alternate to truth. Their way is the alternative reality. If the body needs 8 glasses of water and you put 8 glasses of acid in it, who got the alternative reality? Who got the alternative way of living? You go into the store, everything is alternative food. It's not food, it's all alternative, right? It's an alternative to real food. No, you don't want to eat real food, you got this. So who are the alternatives? But we act like consciousness is an alternative reality. It's just a flavor. It's just flavoring. This is our flavor. We got flavor. It's called black stuff. Black stuff flavor. No, this is the reality. Your hair grows naturally. And it is nappy naturally. That's the reality. When you go and perm it, that's an alternative thing to do with your hair. How you came out your mama's womb is the reality. Everything you do other than that is your alternative. Am I correct? But we have made reality the alternative, and the alternative the reality. That's the society that we live in today. And nobody's standing on the reality. Nobody's standing on the nature of what we are and the nature of what we need to manifest to be in peace and harmony with ourselves and our community, and not to be dominated and ruled by others outside of our race. Nobody want to stand on that. Because you got black people talking about you on that black stuff when you was born with all that black stuff in your skin. So how could you be black and be on black stuff? Only a cracker could be on black stuff. If you black, you was born as black stuff. So why are they so surprised when somebody melanated as hell talking about black power or black supremacy? That's surprising. That should not surprise them, because that is the reality. If we're not black and manifesting something for ourselves, then we fall subject to those who manifest for us, thinking that it's all universal love, right? And that we should care about everybody. But while we care about everybody, nobody gives a fuck about us. Do you hear what I'm saying? We love everybody, but don't nobody love us. It's time for us to love ourselves wholeheartedly. And love ourselves to the capacity that the self-hatred that is practiced as a way of life among our people is obliterated from our community. We no longer stand for it anymore. But it requires for people to stand. People that don't stand will always be subjugated. And this way of life that we're creating, that's manifesting with black supremacy, some people are not going to get it till a lot later. But the people who stand for it will have more liberty, more freedom, and more authority over their life, their situation in their community, than black people all around the world. They will. They won't be subjugated, paying no cracker to live on free land, live in their own neighborhood, live in their own community. They won't be subjugated to these things, because they have the authority to stand for who and what they are. And not just with white people, with black people too. You got to stand for your authority of who you are, with your mama, cousin, nephew, auntie, wife, husband, stray dog, cat, squirrel, mouse in the house, roaches. Y'all feel me? Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. You got to stand your authority against disease, sickness, depression, lethargy. You have to stand your authority as a black supreme entity, the shot caller within self. You have to stand your authority against all of those things, or you will succumb and be defeated. They say there's 99 elements on the periodic chart. There's 99 different types of evil forces trying to bring you down within a 24-hour period. Do y'all hear me? Somebody told us life is sweet. But that's only depending on how big a bag of sugar that you're able to lift. Do y'all hear me? There's sugar there, but you better be able to lift 500-pound bags of sugar to keep pouring that shit in there. Or it's going to be a bitter and a salty life. So every moment we are challenged and we are at war. We are at war with the forces that have maintained things the way they are. If we're going to change it, then we are at war with that which has kept it the same. That which has been operating out of it the way it has been going. That's why it's called a revolution. That's just not a political terminology of understanding different ideologies. There is a real change that we want to create in the world, that we are absolutely clear about what it is. And we are going up against the forces that would have it remain the same. That's all it is. That's revolution for dummies. So we are at war within a 24-hour period and day with the forces that would like to maintain and keep things the way they have always seen. Negroes have always been Negroes and should continue to be Negroes. That's a new law. You got the law of gravity and you got the law of what a Negro is. Science holds the law of gravity in place, physics. The social consciousness holds the laws of the Negro in place. And yes, we have to break the law. We have to become criminals to the social standards and to the limitations and the laws imposed by men on what our achievements can be in this life. Because according to them, all that you got coming is a job, prison, or you're going to end up on drugs. Prostitution, right? That's the law to the Negro. Your parents never said you're going to end up on drugs or crack. Either you're going to go to school and get a good job, you're going to be in prison or dead. They never said, or you could be a god. Did they ever tell you that? Or you could just start your own government. Or create your own monetary system. Why didn't they say that? Because if they said that, they would have broke the laws of Negroism. They didn't say, oh, you could be a king or queen. Or you could start ruling over everything you see. Why wasn't that thrown in there? Because they would have broke the laws of Negroism. That's operating in consciousness. So within a 24-hour period, we must constantly keep checking people that I am not under the Negro codes. Do you hear me? I got to go into Christianity a little bit, because that's the main consciousness that's in the minds of our people. Christianity is the Negro code. Why is it? Because if you look at that book and you read it, you're waiting on Jesus to come back. You're under Jesus Christ. You're under Christianity. You're under this religious mythology, right? And you're supposed to follow this. You don't really have no authority over your own life. Where is it written in the Bible that you can be a ruler of your own destiny if you never read the Bible? Where does it say he who has never even read this Bible can be a ruler of their destiny? What does it say? He who don't give a fuck about this Bible or Jesus Christ can be the ruler of their own destiny and live in happiness, peace, and honor. Does it say that? Did I miss that? Because I didn't read all of it too many times. Maybe it's a book I missed. It don't say that. As metaphysical as you want to get with it, you under something spooky. So that's a Negro code that is imposed on our own people, because we are limited to the standards of what is in that book as we interface with others. And if you do something outside of that, then you're wrong. But everything inside of that has kept the white man in power. Am I right? Because we have obeyed all of the laws and everything that it says do. And we are judged by that. And we allow ourselves to be judged by that. And we fall victim to the judgment by that. It's a reality. The same with Islam. The same with the other religions. The same with the white man's laws. That what he have on the books. All of it is being under something that he made up. Tell me this. Why is it that someone who can think for themselves need to be under anything that some man said? Huh? Because if you can think for yourself, you can what? Become something other. Or do something beyond what that other man has said. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nobody that can think for themselves need to be under anything that has been written. They may be so happen to be in alignment with something that has been written, right? Or the sense that they have made of things is sensible to things that have been written. But why do they need to be under something that is written? We have the ability to arrive at wisdom based on our own thinking and our own mind and our own contemplation. We can arrive at wisdom. The wise ways to do things, to be, do, and have. We can come up with these precepts ourselves, as though we did in Africa, and they call them African proverbs. Am I right? We have the ability to develop these things for ourselves. So the first way that free thinkers should be approached is, what do you think? Am I right? Not, here's this book, here's these rules, here's these laws, and you are under them. I don't care what you think about it. Do you hear what I'm saying? You're under them. You're under these rules and laws. That's what has suppressed and oppressed our society and our community. Because most of our people are not thinking. They're just under all of the white man's laws and all the white man's rules. And the minute they start thinking, they will start thinking outside of the box of mental slavery and imprisonment that has held them in 400 years of slavery. They don't think that they can do anything outside of the context of the situations and circumstances that white supremacy has put them in. That's a part of the problem. So it's going to take people to think outside of those boxes. That's what you call revolutionary thought and revolutionary philosophy. It's going to take people with new ideas to think outside of the type of mental prisons, the mental shackles that have kept us with the same type of limits that we see in our people today. That's a reality. We have to go and question everything. We have to pull all of it apart and make sense of it for ourselves, because what we have not made sense of, what we do not thoroughly understand, what does not make sense, we do not have any authority. Watch this. Knowledge is supposed to give you authority. What's the purpose of knowledge? Anybody help me with that? Exactly. Why should you know the law? Any law? No. Come on. And have the authority. Our people are scared of a word like authority. They have given the word authority right on over to the white people in uniforms. Those are the authorities. Authorities on what? They didn't even call the people of white supremacy in the police department. They gave them all the word authorities. Those are the authorities. Why they are the authorities? It's because we let them author. Because if you break the word down, authority, the word author is in it. Because we let them author our reality. So they're the authorities. Author realities. They have authored our reality. That is the matrix, us living inside of their authored reality without transcending it and realizing that we are the authors of our own reality and that we can make this conscious quantum substance that we call the universe do whatever it is that we want it to do. Huh? That scares some people. If you say you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Some people will start pissing on themselves. Oh, you don't tell me that. I can't. No, that could be right. No, you can't do what you want to do. No, you can do what you want to do. The problem is what you probably want to do, you know or think that it is illegal. So you would hate to believe that you could do it. That's your problem. Not that you can do what you want to do. Because if you could do something that is good and that is right and is in the well-being of others, then you would need to be able to do what you wanted to do. Am I right? But the evil is given more credit and more authority. So we don't want to tell people they can do what they want to do because the evil is going to do what it wants to do. But if the good start doing what it wants to do, if black supremacy start doing what we want to do, nothing that evil can do to suffice or stop it. You watch the movie Jedi, Darth Vader. Who won? Who won the battle? The forces of light or the forces of darkness? But the issue is, the forces of darkness are empowered. And the forces of light don't know who they are, right? But as soon as the forces of light find out who they are, then the forces of darkness are defeated easily. Darth Vader knew who he was first, am I right? The Jedi had to catch up with who he was. As soon as he found out who he was, he defeated the Darth Vader. But then we got to switch that because of the white supremacist context, that the Darth Vader was really the real one. The Darth Vader was the good one. But they switched it. You follow what I'm saying? To make black, everything dark is evil. The Darth Vader was the evil guy. But the moral of the story is that the forces of good will always win against the forces of evil. But those forces of good must be empowered. The forces of evil are already there, are already in a position of power. Am I right? They seem to already be there. It's easier to arrive at evil than it is to arrive at good. That's the easiest thing you can do. That's why you got people overweight, gluttonous, because it's easy to just keep eating. Am I right? It's easier to keep using drugs. Right? That's easy. It's easy to keep smoking cigarettes. Am I right? I don't want to step on nobody's toes, but you gotta move your feet out the way. It's easier to keep using cigarettes, drinking alcohol, eating meat and pork, dead animal flesh. It's easy to keep getting drunk, to keep having a negative mind and an attitude. It's easy to just be lazy as hell, really ain't it? That's why evil is already ahead of time. That's why evil is already ahead in the race before you even get started. But once you get started, and good accelerates at the level of good's progressive acceleration, it will surpass evil naturally. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Once you start going and moving in a positive progressive direction, you can't stop. Once you start eating right, living right, and doing right, you can't go back. It's like a fast. I'm about to go in now. It's easier to just keep eating. Ain't it? It's easier to just eat and snack on what is there than it is to just stop eating and fast. But once you start fasting, it then becomes easier to what? To fast. I'm going in. So good, once it gets started, will surpass evil if you can just get it started. Once you get the exercise routine started, right? Once you get the good diet started. Once you get the fast started. Once you get the project started. You're going with it. But you got to get it started. And evil is the density, the dense vibrations in the ether that you must break through, right? To ascend in the goodness of what you are. This is the reality. So so evil looks scary. You know what I'm saying? It looks very scary and looks insurmountable. That's how it's supposed to look. That's why the devil is so ugly. To scare you to not confronting it and defeating it. You say, not eating today, that's scary. I don't know. Evil looks uncomfortable to deal with, so we let it be. It looks like a horrific destination, so we don't walk that way. But once we chop down all the weeds, then flowers are just constantly to start growing. I'm making a point here. As black supremacists, we must stand as black supremacy and break through the negatives. We're not having ideological problems. It's a question of, can we stand against the negatives? That is the reason why our society and our community is the way it is. That is the real question for the black supremacists. Can our society stand? Can we stand against the negatives that are in our community that have allowed it to go the way it is? Can we stand against the forces of white supremacy? The forces of Negroism? Can we do that? That's the only question. I don't care how many books you read and how much you study. All that can do is help you develop the solidness of your stature, of your composition, the solidity of your composition. But the victory is determined on how solid that you become in your position. How absolutely clear that you are when you can stand against that which seeks to kill, steal, and destroy and wipe out black supremacy. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Can you stand against that which seeks to confuse, use, abuse, and manipulate black supremacy? To manipulate black supreme beings. To keep us within the limitations of this society. We was born in this world. We would have to ask, why was this not a world for us? Why was our community not a community for vegans and vegetarians and those who love their people? Those who do not want to embrace the toxicities. Why was this not a community? You follow what I'm saying? For us. Somebody must have asked that question. Because nobody stood to make it. That community for us. And people stood on the negatives and the evils. Or didn't stand hard enough to neutralize those forces. Am I correct? And everybody who had a little conscience is hiding, conscious after work, Christian dodgers. You hear me? Dodging, neutralizing the ignorance and the illusions that go traveling through this earth, seeking to and fro who it may devour. Not willing to stand against it. Seeking refuge versus warriorship. People say, oh, we should just love everybody. You know why they say that? Because it's easy. It's easy to say that. It's easier not to fight back. It's easier to get your ass whooped. Am I right? It's easier to just lay down and get kicked in the head. Get stomped. It's easy to do that. It's easier to let evil have its way. Right? It's easy because it's written in the Bible. Turn the other cheek. It's easy. But to stand, that's the way of the black supremacists. We stand against the falseness, mentally, physically, and spiritually. We stand against the ideology, the ways of life, the attitudes, and the personalities that are beneath the standard that we consciously choose to live by and manage. We stand against it every opportunity, every moment that we get. It says in the Quran, you must fight out against oppression. Stand against injustice. You follow what I'm saying? Meet aggression with aggression. This is the reality. You can't be weak or you won't have anything. We won't have anything. We won't have anything. And this is a real message. This is not just, I'm not soapboxing it. We will not have everything. And let that speaks to the heart of everybody in here. Because it's easy to go and wonder why the white man got everything set up and his institutions are all so nice and all so beautiful. And we compare that against what we're doing as black supremacists. But we refuse to stand for what we stand for. And we stand in black supremacy and stand for what the white man stands for. Precisely. We stand for what the white man stands for and can't stand against what the white man stands for here. Black supremacy don't have this, and I don't see why we don't have this, and we ain't doing it like this, and we ain't got it like this. Because your ass won't stand for nothing but what you talking about. Which is not standing. We won't stand. But everywhere there's an institution, walk up in there. And somebody is standing for something that they believe in. That is the foundation of the institution. Not nice buildings, not material, not money, but that is a living, breathing body standing in that institution. As soon as you walk in there, that says, you know what? This I will give my life for. Now try me. Am I right? Even the church. I walked up in the church one day just looking for somebody. But they told me to meet them at the church. I said, okay, well, I guess I'll meet you at the church then. I go up to the church, they on security. Militant. They was the National Guard for Jesus Christ. I said, ain't this a church? I'm trying to meet somebody. We think something's going to be given to us on a plate and just hand it over to us. And it's just going to be easy, sweet and simple. We have to stand for something or fall for everything that is there. And what is there? Capitalism, working for this white man, right? Go to his schools. Deal with these fake Negro networks. Am I right? That's what is there. If we don't stand for nothing. So the black supremacists have taken a stand. You're not going to have us just traveling through the earth nomadically. We don't have nothing. We don't have no community. Right? We ain't got nothing. And we just begging black folks to wake up. Please understand who you are. Please. We're not going to keep doing that. We have to stand. It doesn't matter whether you realize it or not. Because in their positions, they're not asking us what we think. They're telling us what it is. Am I right? And we're so nice. So we listening to what you say it is. Without interjecting. Hold on a minute. That's not what it is for me. And if that's what it is for you, step the hell on. You feel what I'm saying? We're not standing in that. And we think we're going to live off the kindness of the white man. Yeah, we can do that individually. We're going to live off the kindness of the stuff that he has established and that he put together. But we will never have a goddamn thing for our own. And we will be a disgrace for our people. We will be a disgrace to our race to have not established nothing for our own people. But just a hippie journey. Yeah, I went over there, saw that, and the white man got that, and I did this, and I did this. What have you established? Old age. Do you feel me? What have you set up? The white man already got that. Do something different. People say they want to challenge themselves and do something spiritual and realize who they are. Well, then challenge yourself. The white man already did that. Capitalism, you can go get a job, go get a business, unemployment, all that. He got that. So how are you challenging yourself? You put on the earth just to embrace what's already there? How is that spiritual? How are you spiritually developed? To just accept what is there until you die. The true spiritual person that is realizing their Godship is challenging themselves to bring into manifestation what is not there. Am I right? Because that's how they see the unfoldment of their spirituality, is to bring from the unseen to the seen. to take what is inside of their vision and their mind's third eye and manifest it into reality. We're not doing that. We're just taking handouts and accepting what is already there. And feeling that this reality is so solid that we can't make it what we want it to be. And that's why when you say somebody, we're going to have our own land, our own sovereign community, that sounds so crazy to them. You know why it sounds so crazy? Because they believe everything that they see is real, that that's solid, that that's what it is. They don't realize that if you put ice in the refrigerator, it's the ice cube. Because of the temperature that is in the refrigerator. But if you take it out the refrigerator and put it in a different circumstance, then it's a liquid, right? What's determining whether the ice is a gas, liquid, or solid in the refrigerator situation is how cold the refrigerator is the temperature. But what determines what something is in reality is consciousness. That determines whether it's solid, liquid, or gas, right? Whether it's a solid permeating reality, whether it's just a pipe dream somebody got, just a daydream. What determines what is reality? What determines if we can have a sovereign, black, supreme nation? Our consciousness. And right now, our consciousness have it be that this shit that we looking out outside of our window and the stuff that we seeing in our community, our consciousness have us that this is solid somehow. That we walking around in some solid reality and this is just how things are. Trying to change the temperature of your mind. Heat it up a little bit. Don't be afraid. Put some radical heat. And watch it turn to liquid. Do you understand what I'm saying? The revolution is that heat that we're putting on this cold, callous, incompassionate situation that our people are in. It's the revolution of the heat that makes the solidness of white supremacy start turning into liquid. So, well, that's malleable. We can do something else with that. That's not as solid as we thought. Oh, wow, I ain't know. Y'all, oh, wow. I didn't know y'all could do that. Yeah, we did. I put a post on Facebook of Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and Gaddafi. I got a lot, and I said, America's karma is coming. And I got a lot of comments on that. Some people said that they kill our prophets. And then somebody got on there and argued and said, well, how could Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and Gaddafi be our prophets? They didn't represent the cause of black people. But I said, what did Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, and Bin Laden have in common? They showed the liquidness of the white man's security. Do you understand? They showed the liquidness of U.S. imperialism. Am I correct? Because it was solid. This is secure. This thing is solid. Ain't nothing happening. And then two of your biggest buildings just fall down. Wow. Thought the buildings were solid. Everything falling around us. The economy falling, right? I thought we had an economy. I thought this was the land of the free, home of the brave. This land of the broke. Mm-hmm. So what they did is they stood against the white illusion of white supremacy. Not far of it in their Arabicness. They still got their own Arabized supremacy. To me, that is a degree of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. But we cannot deny that they stood against the forces of white supremacy and poked holes in how strong it was. Mm-hmm. Saddam almost defeated them in Iraq. The first Iraq war. Is that correct? He almost defeated them. Mm-hmm. A country that could not be defeated almost getting defeated by a third world country. And before that, Gaddafi slapped them in the face. Killing over 500 of their officials in plane crashes and taking their ass out. Just off a small little space. He poking holes in their reality. Poking holes in the reality of white supremacy is. That's what makes them valuable. They showed us the liquidness of this shit. It's liquid. All people walking around solid on white supremacy. No, you can't do that. No, you can't. There's no way that can happen. Solid. and not solid on black supremacy. And the people that are on black supremacy, they're solid on white supremacy, entertaining black supremacy. They're just entertaining it. Well, maybe, I see how we was in Egypt, but I don't know about today. It's not a reality for them. They cannot stand in and as it. And if a strong enough force come and argue them and debate them on that, they're going to shut up and get little. They will. If a good enough Christian come to them and debate and say, they can say, you have your way and I have mine. The Jehovah's Witnesses, I've shown and proven, the Jehovah's Witness, Christians, Muslims, and all of them will run from you. I won't be losing any of those debates for white supremacy involved. They're going to walk away. That's a fight they will walk away from. And to our fight is a strong enough fight that our enemies will walk away from. It is no fight at all. It's lottery. Maybe we'll win or maybe we'll lose. It's at the stroke of chance. So that means the fight in our consciousness as black supremacists should be so strong that it's a fight that our enemies will walk away from. We're thinking that it's a fight that we gotta go 10 rounds, right? Build ourselves up. It's because we have made our enemies so powerful and our consciousness is so weak. We're ready to go 10 rounds. We're ready to get AKs and we ain't got enough weapons and we need nuclear weapons because we're so great. But I'm telling you, we gotta go further. We must become so absolutely clear in our consciousness that we become a fight that our enemies must walk away from. Not today. When your enemy say, not today. When your enemy has to be the good guy and pick and choose his battles, pick and choose her battles. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? That's how you know you got a good fight. When your enemy is saying, well, you have your opinion. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I know. In my opinion, this is true. In my opinion, that is the truth. In my opinion, that it's not my opinion. All matter of fact, it's true. Do you hear what I'm saying? We must stop caving in. We're not cave men and cave women. What the fuck are we caving in for? The cave men and cave women should be the ones caving in. And the ones in their mindset. We let these Christians, capitalists, white supremacists, believers wreak havoc on us. This is the end of the persecution of the righteous black supremacists. We will no longer be persecuted. We will stand and fight against those who try to enforce, push, and propagate white supremacy. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? That's the attitude of the black supremacy. And it's through the battle, it's through the preparedness of that battle. We will be loved. Will it be something to be loved and something to be respected? Nothing will be sure about, no one will be sure about what you are about until you become absolutely sure about it. Does that make sense? If you are not absolutely sure, why should people even entertain it? Well, you're not even sure about it. Right? So that's what this is. The black supremacists are sure about the condition, sure about the situation, sure about the odds, sure about the statistics, sure about the position and situation that we are in as a people. And we're standing in it. And we're standing in it. So we gotta stand. In all situations, in all circumstances. And that is the militancy. The stand. Stand. And those who stand will reap the benefits of stand. And those who cannot stand will fall and crush their own knees. You understand what I'm saying? That's the reality. So, it's not an ideological battle. Our circumstances bear witness to the need of black supremacy. What spaces, what communities are competing with us being able to have our own community and our own sovereignty? Who's running the race on that? Is there any other communities that we can call anywhere that's standing and we own sovereignty, we not give pan this crack or nothing? Where are they at? Where are the people that are standing on this stuff? There's no competition with this. That's how significant that we know that it is. But our significance, our realization of its significance should be shown by our stand in it. Because if we can't stand in and as it and take it for granted, we will be casted aside. We take advantage of now of the social economic situation and say, well, we ain't got time to deal with them niggas. So for some, their little consciousness is a social economic circumstance. Once the social economics change, and white man feel like he gets a little tough again, due to the economic situation shift, I'm passing a jobs bill, or we're going to do this now and give all these jobs out to the people, right? Then the social economic situation changes. The European feel like he got a little bit of muscle. And every half-ass black conscious person will get the shit slapped out of him by white supremacy. Do you hear me? Because right now, their position, it doesn't reflect their stance. It reflects what they are allowed to do. It's circumstances, right? It's the temperature of the social economic reality that they are a little conscious. At best, they can take advantage of that situation to become completely conscious. Because when you become completely conscious, you can stand against anything, anytime, no matter what. They can solve martial law tomorrow. This whole world could go up in mayhem. They can occupy the whole planet with madness and confusion, because that's what it is. We can stand against that because we are absolutely clear. We can stand against anything that will happen in this world if our meditation and our focus on who and what we are is that intense. But if we're not that solid, we'll be thrown off about it. We can't stand in any position against anybody. And you know what? We stand by and watch. Why do people stand by and watch when things are negative, going down negative? Why? Why do people just stand on the side and look and don't say nothing and just because they are unclear and exactly, and they don't have a position. And unclarity means that they're afraid to do the wrong thing, right? Because if you're not clear about what the right thing is, then you can only what? Be afraid to do the wrong thing. So they stand by and just let it all go down. They don't take no position. Oh, okay. We're not here because we're just standing by watching. We're here because we came here to stand. That's why we're standing here. We're not standing here because we accidentally tripped and fell in our own community. We just rolled over and woke up one day and we was in our own black supremacist community. It didn't happen like that. We stood in an essence. We stood at it. And that made it a reality for ourselves and for our community. The more people we get to stand at that, the more momentum, impact, and force we will have to change the consciousness of our people. We don't need people to wake people up. We need people to stand at it. But a byproduct of standing at it, you can't help but to wake people up. You can't help but to reach other people. You can't help but to deal with people based on what your consciousness is. Based on what your consciousness level is. You can't help but to deal with all that. So once you have to stand, it's automatic. There's 6 degrees of separation. We're trying to wake up thousands and millions of people. But the 6 people in your 6 degrees of separation, all of them have smashed your ass in every debate. Do you hear me? You're going to change the world, but everybody that you, in your 6 degrees, outside of your relationship to black supremacy, then smashed you on every point. You feel me? But you're deep as hell with the world, though. But the 6 people that's going to call you up and harass you and persecute you, right? They smash your ass. Okay, well, I gotta go. Am I right? You strong when you strong with the black supremacists. You strong with those who know. You even know more than those who know. But those on bullshit, you ain't got nothing to say. Well, I need to do more research, or, that's your opinion. Am I right? You ain't got nothing to say. You agree with them before they even start talking, don't you? And not only do you have nothing to say in defense, you also refuse to be antagonistic against the things that are blatantly foolish. Do y'all hear me? As black supremacists, we must be antagonistic against things that are blatantly stupid. They should be so antagonized in the positions of stupidity constantly. Do you follow what I'm saying? That they either gonna change or move the fuck on. Am I right? I'm not talking about violence and aggression. I'm talking about taking advantage of the moments that you interface with people to squash the stupidity. Because either you are making someone else smarter, or you yourself are becoming more stupider or more confused. Am I right? Am I right? The conversation gonna go to two ways if you're talking to an idiot. If you're gonna become an idiot by the end of the conversation, which is confused, it's the same thing. If you're an idiot, then you're confused. State of confusion, the state of idiocy. So either two things gonna happen. Either you're gonna convert over, or you're gonna be in a state of confusion. That's the reality. So we're not taking advantage of moments. We play black supremacy like it's a group. We play black supremacy like it's an organization. It's not. It's a way of life that must be executed by he or she who has the heart of a black supremacist. You hear me? So you can't just be black supremacist with the group. You must execute black supremacists in all of your dialogues, in all of your interactions, in all situations and circumstances where it needs to be clarified on what black supremacy is. You can't just come with a group and say the creed and then we just meet after work and pay all our dues and pay our fees, or we just get on Facebook and chat. Yeah, black supremacy. But we get smashed all the goddamn day and just let mayhem just run wild all around us. Soon as somebody even mention white supremacy, it should be smashed. Am I right? It should be smashed when the conversation even arrives. Then it won't even get out of hand. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about being angry and having animosity. That's people use that as escapism. You want people to be mad, angry, and animosity, so I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying being tolerant. I'm saying being patient enough. Not emotional. Being patient enough to walk each and every person to black supremacy. No matter how mad and angry they get. We ain't got to get angry. We just stop. We can even talk with the lowest tone, right? As long as we solid and black supremacy. Who's willing to do that? We think that things just happen, that life is a coincidence and things just happen. All the forces that could stop or come against this beautiful black supreme experience that we're having, we are allowing to rise up where we don't squash white supremacy where we see it happening. Am I right? So whatever the negative repercussions that occur or the negative consequences of something are a byproduct of where we did not clarify and distinguish the distinctions of black supremacy. Am I right? We just let it go. Well, that's just your opinion. And tomorrow they come up with strapped with bombs. That's my opinion that I should blow this temple up. We should have dealt with that opinion, shouldn't we? Mm-hmm. Shouldn't we have addressed that opinion and kind of worked through that? We just let it go because we don't feel responsible. See, if you don't have authority, then you don't have responsibility. Who am I to clarify what black supremacy is, or even, God, who am I? God? Who am I? A goddess? Who am I? A black supremacist? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? So we have a social responsibility a social position to maintain, spread, awaken, and stand on black supremacy, which takes me to my next subject matter. Because I'm glad the people that are here are here. I'm so glad that y'all are here. We talk about sustainable living, but we don't talk about sustainable social society. We talk about being sustainable, having food sustainability, right? Weatherproof sustainability. But we don't talk about social sustainability. Let me clarify. Your sustainability is your sustainability. Do y'all hear me? Your sustainability is your sustainability. Sustain comes from the word substance. The substance of what something is, right? Having substance. Sustenance, sustain. Your sustainability is your sustainability. We think that we need a sustainable community as far as material is concerned. That we need gardens and vegetables and this and that. And if you don't have sustainability, the white man gonna run your ass away from that too. The Negro gonna run your ass up out of that too. I'm just keeping it real. You cannot have bio-sustainability until you have social sustainability. Let me tell you why. We're gonna focus on just bio-sustainability, and we're just gonna focus on gardens, and we're gonna have seeds and plant this and have organic gardens. And then we're gonna have our own community, we're gonna have organic gardens. You bring every non-black supremacist clarified Negro into that. And you have feudal lord warfares in 24 hours. I planted them crops. That's my side of the land. I planted them vegetables. I'm selling that. I don't care what that Negro is talking about. Who is he talking about to run this land? I don't like her. So she touched my mangoes. I'm gonna slap that bitch. Come on now, am I lying? So if you ain't got social sustainability, it don't matter what other type of sustainability you have. You take Willie Lynch on down into the middle of nowhere with you. We'll start hanging niggas ourselves. You don't have to wait for the KKK. Huh? If you don't got social sustainability based on something, then it don't matter about the material. The material don't really mean nothing. It's only like one man is $1 million today and broke tomorrow. You can be, if you don't have social sustainability, you will have temporal progress. Until niggas get angry, mad enough, and menstrual enough to tear that shit up. It's gonna be temporary. We can look at Dr. Malachi York. How long? He was in New York all that time. Then he go to Georgia, get some niggas on the land by themselves, and that shit is over with immediately. Am I correct? How long was he teaching? Almost 30-some years, and they was just in Georgia, in Edenton, almost 10 years? If that long. And look what happened. You get them by themselves. Oh boy. We don't realize that white supremacy, unfortunately, is keeping down some black hate by accident. By accident. Because it has to decide how you're hated. Not because it loves black people, but it's the authority on hate. See, I see y'all having a domestic argument, but y'all ain't hating each other the right way. I decide how y'all hate. I decide how you're going to be hated. Okay, he's the nigger, you're going to jail. You follow what I'm saying? He has to decide how you can hate one another. So it's not that he cares about us and is trying to solve our disputes. He just got to make sure that he's the authority on how you can be hated. We can have a domestic dispute, fight with each other, and we're going to jail for that. He can kill an innocent man and nothing happens to him at all. Am I right? So it's not about the love of black people. It's about being an authority on how we can be hated. We killed another person in self-defense. It was self-defense in us. He had to be the authority on it. Did he need to be hated in that way? Because if I killed him, it was necessary all the time. Whenever I kill a nigga, right, it's necessary. If you got self-defense, it's a whole book on that shit. To make sure that you hated. Was you honoring white supremacy when you shot him? That's all I really want to know. Did you take this matter in your own hands, or did you kill this nigger under my auspices? Okay, you killed him under my auspices. By the book, by the code, the nigger code. Okay, you're free, you're innocent. But you're saying you killed them because you're the God of the universe. Okay, you're guilty. I'm God of the universe. Only I can kill, right? Only I can kill and use unnecessary force. That's my job. So he's not trying to keep peace in our neighborhood. He's just making sure we don't get too big enough. You follow what I'm saying? To come at him. That we don't become too much in authority of ourselves. Don't solve your own problems. Because if you start solving your own problems, you'll realize your biggest problem is me, and then you'll solve me, and I don't want that to happen. So let me continue to solve your problem. Because I solved the problem of you realizing that I'm the problem. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's some slick thinking. That's some slick thinking. We cannot have sustainable living until we have social sustainability. Because whatever we build materially is going to be sustained by the consciousness of the people. We come into a micromanagement situation. I got to go in on this, which is temple building. When we say we get a whole bunch of people, they talk about black unity and how important black unity is. We get a whole bunch of people together and they say, I got to get away from these niggas. Those micro incidents and micro issues will become macro in a different setting. Whatever selfishness, individualism, greed, whatever that is, it will come out in a different setting. There are other circumstances, right, that neutralize the forces in this society for it manifesting in a certain way. Put it in another environment, the same forces to quell those situations will not be there. So they will manifest differently. Our first goal is social sustainability. And not just ourselves. I don't want to present us like we're some evil people that can't coexist together. I know we can. That's why I'm doing this. But our major emphasis must be on social sustainability. That we must have a consciousness and a solidarity among one another where we can sustain against any forces that would ever come against us. This force can't come against us and we just hold the foot up. So, it gotta be more solid than that, right? It gotta be something else that's holding it. Forces say, oh, you all do your own farmland, but this is illegal. It's illegal to grow vegetables. It's illegal to do this. And we just gonna hold this vegetable up. Give us free. It gotta be something more solid than that in the consciousness of the people of what they're standing on. It gotta have a greater consciousness to center it that can neutralize forces that will come against it internally and externally. That is the main focus. It's nothing for any one of us to have a garden and to grow a garden and to farm. But it will be something of us for 50 or 100 of us to do it in our life. Mm-hmm. That's why one or two people can leave and say, well, I'm going to go grow a garden because this is the best way. Where's the social sustainability in that if it's just two people gardening? What's new about that? What's new about individualism and independence? And what's new about materialism, independence, and individualism? Nothing is new about that. But for us to become a self-sustainable community, it won't be based on vegetables and land. It will be based on the consciousness that we have of who we are as a supreme entity together. Am I right? That is the focus of black supremacy. Everything else is second. We get a strong enough force with us, Whole Foods could be ours tomorrow. We could take over Whole Foods. Literally. It's ours now. We operate it now. If our consciousness is that solid, if that was an objective, we got a weak consciousness, we cannot even keep a garden. We couldn't even maintain a simple garden. That's like people who plant their vegetables around their house, and people just keep stepping on their grass. You got sustainable, everything you need to be bio-sustainable, but you don't have the social sustainability to implant reverence in people, to respect the process of how you garden. Mm-hmm. Am I right? So without social sustainability, the farther you get away from people, period, the better off you will be. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? But if you have social sustainability, you can build something with many people and secure something with many people. and it be in peace and in harmony. We need social sustainability. We don't just need a whole bunch of people with a whole bunch of good ideas that continue to scatter them out, and we have no solidarity. Our enemy is coming at us with its socially sustained institution. What is the police department? It's a socially sustained institution. What is the Department of Agriculture? It's science. It's a socially sustained institution. What is every enemy that has something to say about what we're doing? What is it? Huh? It is a socially sustained institution. And what can an individual do against a socially sustained entity? What can a disorganized group of people do as or against a socially sustained institution? We need social sustainability first. We can't hate each other and love fruits and vegetables. We cannot not get along and love nature. If we can't work together in the smallest, simple of the sense, right? How the hell do we work together and be responsible of thousands of acres of land? Can somebody help me? If we have poor communication standing next to each other, how the hell are we going to have good communication on thousands of acres of land? Somebody help me. It's impossible. If we can't get along room to room from one another, how the hell are we going to get along 1,000 acres apart from one another, managing land and resources? These are unrealistic concepts, which is why all the people who have talked about this, the best they have achieved is some individuals with a garden. Show me something better. Somebody show me something contrary. Show me a community of people. Black. With their own self-sustainable community. Completely outside of white supremacy. Show me one. The teacher. We need social sustainability. That's the focus. Materialism is not new for us. And a car, watch this, I'm about to hit people too. A car, a nice crib, a solar panel, an electric generator, a nice garden. It's all materialism. What's the difference? I want a Mercedes-Benz and I want an organic garden with a solar panel. An electric generator. What's the difference? What's the similarity? They're all materialistic objectives. And a lot of times they are individualistic, materialistic objectives. We got to go in and ask ourselves, do we want something for us as a society, or do we just want to have individual objectives? Because in order for us to be a social sustainable community, our objectives are based on us being socially sustained, not individualistic objectives. Am I correct? That means whatever it takes to sustain this, as it is now and as it is growing, and growing to sustain itself in a more sufficient way, is what is relevant. Does that make sense? Now, I say I want something outside of the sustainability of this community. That's individualism. It really is. That's the individualistic pursuit. Now say I want something that is going to aid in the sustainability of this community. What's that? That's a collective. So people arguing arguing as an individual versus the collective, thinking they can have any good argument. When I called you here, it was collective. When you got here, it became individual. Huh? Before you got here, it was set up to provide for and create something sustainable for a collective. Am I right? When people got here, that's what it was. But then when it got into something that was set up sustainable for the collective, they argue the sustainability of the collective for their own individual pursuits. And did their individual pursuits lead them to develop something that was sustainable for another collective? Because that would have made it right. No. It created something where they could barely succeed and be successful as an individual to sustain in the white supremacist infrastructure. That it was a struggle for now just for mere individual sustainability when it came to something that was effortless collective sustainability. And they feel like they have a good argument. It takes collective sustainability for collective sustainability for collective sustainability for collective sustainability. It takes individual sustainability for barely individual sustainability, for almost didn't make it sustainability, for a lot of pressures and forces of white supremacy trying to quell what I'm doing type sustainability, to assimilation sustainability, right? We need social sustainability before we can have biological sustainability. Because with social sustainability, we can even science up and work together as a collective to even survive biological warfare. Am I correct? As with just straight biosustainability with biological warfare, I don't think we're going to do too good. Only through collective effort can we survive biological warfare. And we're under that. We're under biological warfare. With the government, the management of our foods, the fact that you can even manage how somebody grows it. People think once that gets big, that there's nothing coming against that. I just got through watching a video where they shut down an organic farm. Just shut it down. If we can't stand socially sustained, we will fail at anything we try to do. We've been able to do some things in this community that only as an organized collective would we have been able to do. If we wasn't such a strong collective, everything we did would have been challenged. How y'all doing that? How could y'all do that? Who are y'all? But since we're so solid, and so many of us, they're like, well, those are an authority. I mean, they are organized. We're not. People tend to look at those that are organized as somebody and those that are not organized as nobody. Don't they have a tendency to do that? Whatever organized force come through is the somebody. Those are the police. Those are the fire department. Everybody else is living in the neighborhood. Those are nobody. Regular dude walking down the street, he's just nobody. So collectives command the respect of the scattered masses by being able to collectivize. Am I right? This is why Kwame Ture said, organize, organize, organize. Because that's the only way we will have the credibility and the authority to create the community that we have. Individualism already exists. It's already there. That's what our neighbors are. All individualism that got their own is only concerned about themselves as individuals. We get 50 people as a collective. Anything that comes against that collective will be crushed by every aspect and every part of the collective. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? It was a thing called, that I watched about the revolutionary movement in Sierra Leone. It's called Touch One, Touch All. And it's like, if you touch us anywhere, then you would have to touch us. We'll touch you everywhere. And if you touch us anywhere, you touch us everywhere. Right? So that means if you act on any one part of it, because it is not individualized and separated, if you act on any one part of it, every part of it moves on you with a driving force that you have never seen before. And not just by mere accident and sympathy. Well, I feel sorry for what they did. I'll do something. I'll go out and pick it. And I don't know. They shouldn't have did them like that. I'm going to say something. I'm talking about no. I'm talking about as an organized, conscious, intentional entity. They are crushed. You understand what I'm saying? without rest, without sleep. You feel what I'm saying? Every time they turn around, every way they look, every direction they look, and they can't even look up without getting hit. That's collectivized force. Our people talk about these principles that I'm talking about before, but what they missed was spirituality. And that's another thing that black supremacy provides. Because without the spiritual aspect of it, people can never achieve being in the collective that way. They can never be in the collective. Because their ego. The ego is an individualistic thing. It's an individualistic phenomenon. To reach that type of collective power, the individual will almost have to become selfless. You understand what I'm saying? What they self become, they self is the greater entity. It's like your body. What if you got in a fight and your arm said, I'm doing me? Do you hear what I'm saying? And then you grab your other arm and say, guess what? I'm doing me too. You know, I get around to it when I get ready, you know, I might swing. You got a problem. Because all of each body part and each and every finger has an identity. And it has to think about and weigh and see what place did it play in it. And how am I going to be seen in it? And what does this mean for me? And, you know, well, even if you cut off the brain, I'll still be a finger for a few minutes. You understand what I'm saying? I would cherish that. I would cherish the brain being cut off. And just being able to wiggle a little bit longer as my own finger. That's why we don't have no leadership. That's why we don't accept leadership. Because we're so individualistic and so egotistical. That the little minimal beauty of individualism is a greater value to us than the force, strength, power, and the enduring capability of a collective. That's why we don't want leadership. Our individualism is so strong. But every force that's against us has a clear leader. Name one force that's against us that doesn't have a leader. Assemblies ain't moving to us. The bullshit about all this democracy. They sold us all this stuff to be a powerless people. The assemblies that are marching in the Occupy Wall Street are more democracy. Right? They're assemblies. But what power do they have? The forces against them have clear leaders that can command thousands of people to move against them and kill them all, right? And they got to vote and decide of how they can use power, and they don't have time. Just to give you an example, they was going to evict the people on Wall Street a week ago or 2 weeks ago so they can clean up and just tell their ass you got to go. They still waiting on an eviction now. And what did the governmental forces say to them? What did they say? They said, well, we are all going to organize and see how we're going to deal with them going to evict us. And figure out all these just people from any and everywhere with any and every type of thought and any and every type of sign. You follow what I'm saying? With every different type of struggle and every different, I mean, it's just so many people. I saw so many signs that people have out there that just so off the wall. Save the trees. Save the, you know what I'm saying? The lizards. I mean, it's all type of signs. We're against the corporations. We're against the restaurants. We're against the Obama. We're against imperialism. We're against, there's so many people out there. Then you got to organize that all together to realize how they're going to be effective against clear forces of leadership and organization that have been organized long before they even thought of thinking about themselves. Am I right? They way behind in the game. The clear leadership puts it all into perspective to move as one single force of power against anything that moves against you. We ain't gotta have a meeting at war. They're commanders. Move out on the ship. Am I right? Move in now. Their idealistic ways of creating society. If we don't have a vote and let's all get together, we don't have time. All the time for that. Dude. That's where individualism fails. While we're fighting for individualism and fighting to survive as individualism, it's definite that we will die as a collective. It's definite. We're just only waiting on our number. You follow? We might have a little bit more time in our individual because we're number 72 on the list. But when they get number 71, your number's next. The best thing about the Occupy Wall Street that I saw was that when the police try to get them, they all hold arms together. You hear what I'm saying? As one force, where they have to try to pull all of them away, right? It's hard to get one of them if they all holding hands. That's slowing down their ability to arrest. That is an ingenious strategy, showing the power of unity versus the power of individualism. So what am I saying? There must be clear leadership. There must be clear principles. There must be clear values. There must be a clear position. And there must be people that stand for it. Otherwise, when clear forces act against it, it will be destroyed. It will be stagnant. It will be split up. It must be a strong supporting mechanism. That's what black supremacy is. Some people want not social sustainability. They want material sustainability because they just want their own as an individual. Watch this. I did not get into black supremacy for what I want as an individual. Black supremacy owes me nothing. I know I owe black supremacy, which is why I will be the last man standing until my time on this planet is up. Because there's no one to owe me nothing with the principles that I stand for. I stand as the principles that I stand for. You follow me? So thousands may come and thousands may go that owe me nothing, and I still owe black supremacy to be standing on black supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't get into this for what was material. I got into this to what I can contribute to society, to what I can contribute socially. That's the reality. How I can help aid in the social elevation of our people. That brought me into black supremacy. Not because I wanted an organic garden, or I wanted my own house, or I wanted my own this and my own that. That is not what motivated me to become a black supremacist. Because I care about the people was my main motivation. And we know with the care of ourselves and our people that we are eventually going to need to be self-sustained. But that is secular to being a people that can sustain itself. Am I right? We are already individuals that can sustain ourselves by having a job, by having a hustle, right? So we don't got to worry about that. That is not even a subject of thought. That's easy. Any of us can already be in this free enterprise society. We can come up with a hustle, go find a job, come up with a hook and a crook, right? To survive as an individual. Easy. So there's no reason to come into black supremacy to survive as an individual. The purpose of black supremacy is to ensure the survival of the collective. The peace, harmony, safety, well-being, and security of the collective. That is the purpose of black supremacy. If it was about individualism, you'd have did that better in white supremacy. White supremacy has always ensured greatness and growth for the individuals. Has it not? That's why people are not on black supremacy. Because they can gain more by being an individual. They can gain more by not being pro-black and not representing the race and just being that Negro where they said, you know, you a smart Negro. You're different from your people. They can gain more from that than standing on the greatness of their people. This is already a given. When you go fill out a job application, You're not going to write the black supremacy, the original man. You're not going to write none of that. You're going to write, I am an individual American, right? They want all the benefits that American individualism has. Because America guarantees you, as long as you choose to be an individual under it, versus being a collective that represents anything other than it. Am I right? Individualism is easy. For anybody under white supremacy. The only thing you need collectivism for is for black supremacy. It's to no longer be a weak force that can be brutalized, exploited, extorted, attacked, arrested, killed, maimed, right? That's the only reason that you need to become a collective force. Because while we're surviving individually, our days are numbered as long as the forces and powers of white supremacy are greater than us. Every individual is lucky that his tax audit day is not tomorrow. That he don't get pulled over by a white supremacist and get mistaken as somebody that he's not. Or that the Negro issues going on in this society doesn't involve him killing his own or being killed by his own, right? Until that happens, every individual is lucky because there's no collective force of protection. The system, the force of justice, is a force of injustice against black people. Am I right? So there is no collective justice for black people in America. There is no collective justice. It's collective injustice. Black supremacy is collective justice. There's barely individual justice for black people. There is more individual justice for white people than there are for black people. Am I right? Especially in a country where we're 12% of the population. We're outnumbered. And even if those statistics are wrong, to the degree that we are outnumbered, shows even more of the need that we be unified and not be on individualism. And that we are black supremacists representing our supreme interest. We got him. We must fight against individualism. Mentally, spiritually, and intellectually, what we see it. We must stand against it. We must motivate and inspire people to be a part of the collective. Sometimes we support individualism for our own individualistic gain. Because we think if we help somebody with their individualism, that eventually we're helping ourselves with our individualism in the future. And what we are doing is breaking down the collective. Our support of others in their individualism, I'm about to go in with this one, is our insurance policy and our individualism. And if the core of this becomes individualism, and individualism overthrows the spirit of collectivism, I guarantee you our people will never have this again. You know what I'm saying? If the spirit of individualism overthrows the spirit of collectivism, our people will never have this again. Because with individualism, this would be unnecessary, right? Why would you share everything you have with your own people when you are supposed to live for your individualistic ass self? Why would you have a space where people don't have to pay and don't have to worry about bills and don't exploit and extort each other with capitalistic ideas and agendas? Why should you have a space like that if you are an individual? So how would this space ever exist again? But we think we are getting over by helping others in their individualism, ensuring our future individualism, and nothing is left for those who come behind us. Then this is there. So people who need it, like we once did, And I said this in another lecture, and I don't mind being repetitive. So people who really need this, because we don't need it, and some of us, we don't need this anymore. That's, you see, when the people that lead it, they come in this, they get strong in this as an individual, and they say, you know, I'm a strong individual. I don't need the collective anymore. Not realizing the collective needs the collective. It was never about the individual needing the collective. It was about the collective needing the collective. Because as an individual, if you have an obligation and responsibility to the collective, then you are helping others that are in need. So it ain't even about what you need. That it was about what you and you needed, watch this, was purely a coincidence. It was purely a coincidence riding on the fact that it was about what the collective needed. Am I right? So this was never about what an individual needed. Never. Never was this about what an individual needed or wanted. This is always about what the collective needed and wanted. Always. Because we can point to a lot of individuals out there that don't need it. So they can make arguments of how it's not needed. Right? But what about the whole collective of individuals that do need it? That have been persecuted by white supremacy, have been kicked aside, that's down on their luck, that's getting the brutal iron fist of white supremacy. What about them? That's who this is representative for. That's who this is a space for. So when they come and rise up in their individualism, they say, well, I'm strong, I'm on my feet, I'm good. No one needs that anyway. No one even needs that. You see the arrogance? They cannot return the favor to others that would need this. They don't look back at all. They just keep going forward. We think the Sankofa is looking back into our African history and roots. No, Sankofa is just looking at the what people standing behind you sometimes. You feel me? Don't look too far back where you can't see the people standing right behind you, where you can't see the next generations of people who can use this type of infrastructure to ensure the type of supreme black consciousness that we need to change the reality of our people. They come into this after being ostracized by society and told that, look, you put them in the mental institution or seeing something greater about their people than just being so outside of and just needing a place to go. Not to help somebody with their individualistic ass pursuits and their limited lifespan based on materialism and capitalism, but to develop the ingenious and brilliant aspects of themselves to come up with solutions to solve collective problems. Do y'all hear me? What about them? What about this being an institution to help cultivate brilliance, ingenuity, to fashion the most remarkable aspect of the human being in something that could transform the reality of our society? What about that aspect of what we're doing? What about that? Somebody can walk through this door sincere. It's not just on materialism. Not even concerned about it, not even worried about that, and said, you know what, I came up with something, and I was just thinking, and people thought I was crazy, but I came up with something that can reverse nuclear explosion. Huh? And I got all my paperwork and everything, and I've been studying this, but I didn't think I was going to be able to do this and get to this point, right? Because I had to work, and he was kicking me out this house, and I had to do this, and I had to do that, and I don't know what I'm going to be able to bring this goodness out of me, this contribution to humanity is going to be able to come out of me. Okay, and I found y'all. Huh? And then now I can fashion out this blueprint. Now I can work this thing out, right? Now there's a space in the institution that can help social sustainability. that can sustain me while I work out the real blueprint for black power, right? But we ain't thinking that. We're thinking on materialism as black supremacists, as the core, as the humanitarians, of the altruistic givers, of the selfless, invincible entity. What do we want? A nice house. With our own white picket fence. With a dog. Right? I have me a solar panel up there. Give me a garden in the back. I'm good. Until the white man decides to use big G words like gentrification, which is forces that we can't seem to stand against, and now we got to get up out that neighborhood. Am I right? Because collectively we do not have the political power, or the military power, or the economic power to go against the forces of white supremacy, because we only got individual economics, and we only got individual politics, and individual agendas. So that is not going to be strong enough to stand against collective forces that are coming against us. The average person saying, I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to buy me a house. I'm going to pay my mortgage. And I'm going to be good. Then you get old. The vampire bankers come, take your house from you, put you under foreclosures. Where are you going with your capitalism now? Everybody that was on an individualistic capitalist pursuit, thinking they're doing something, they got a job, they got an education, and they're making something happen for their families and children. When they get 80 years old, their house is snatched up from their ass. Their neighborhood is under eminent domain. The government takes the land, no matter that you paid your mortgage or not, right? Or they send some shifty ass evil lender into your house that makes you take a triple mortgage out on your house and still snatches up the house, makes you an offer you cannot refuse. You're diabetic negative, you can't see, you're blind. Your children don't have no sense of responsibility or authority about themselves, and they let you take the house right up from grandma, and everything you work for means nothing. Where did you go with your individualism if you can't stand against the forces of vampirism and the forces of destruction of what black people can maintain? Where's your individualism leading you to? We can see where it's going with all the old people that are losing their houses. We see where our individualism is going. We will lose everything as individuals. That's our choice. Either one day we're going to lose everything as individuals, or we will maintain everything as a collective. Those are the only options that are on the table. I guarantee you that. You show black people that still got their community against gentrification, against foreclosure, against forces of imperialism and brutality coming into their community, I'll show you a strong, collective, solid community. Do you hear me? I'll show you a collective of people on a solid page. You show me a static community of individualism, I'll show you police brutality, I'll show you no justice. You follow what I'm saying? I'll show you people losing their houses, losing their neighborhoods, schools being shut down in their community. I'll show you that. I'll show you poor quality foods in their neighborhood. I'll show you crime. I'll show you black on black self-hate. Because it's an individual thing. Right? Every nigga is a threat. The whole community is not my house. I got guns for my neighbors. If my neighbor, he looked over here too hard, locked down everything. That's what we live in today. So to see that type of individualism try to raise his head in black supremacy is very disappointing. Because the black supremacist is supposed to be selfless and collective. To whatever end. I'm going in today. Not selfless with an insurance policy. Right? Because some people are selfless with an insurance policy. I've been doing black supremacy for this long, I've been on this for this long, for my unlimited visa. That's not selflessness. That's selflessness with an insurance policy. Our agenda is not to somehow have a lot of individuals. Our agenda is to create a better situation for the collective. That's if you sent the Marines over to Iraq and they start just taking over mosques, turning them into their homes. Do you hear me? One day he's an admiral or he's a general in the army, and the next day he in that mosque with the AK against you. He forgot the mission. He's not trying to liberate the Iraqis or create social change or help with a transitional government. He's over there with gold and silver. Huh? Literally. He didn't win an AWOL. He got him an Arabic harem in the mosque. Do y'all hear me? Aborted the mission. What if that happened? How successful would they be? We have to stay focused on what our mission is. And I'm not judging people, because some people just have a different mission, and that's fine. But we got to stay clear on what the mission is and what our mission is. Because if we fail, it's because we didn't achieve our mission. And we didn't realize what our mission was or is. Because how much we realize it will be how effective that we are in being able to manifest. That's an absolute fact. So it's going to take a collective energy. It's becoming a community. Some people will say, isn't our desire to start our own community? Yes and no. The yes part is we're starting our own community because we're starting consciousness in our community that already exists. Do you feel what I'm saying? So that's how we're starting a community. We're not starting a community by us taking land from our own people or taking over land in our own neighborhood, calling it a conscious community. We're starting our own community by creating consciousness in the community that already exists. Because community breaks it down and you get the word come out of it, and you get the word communication. So community is not a byproduct of land, it's a byproduct of communication. By communicating black supremacy to people, effectively, they become a part of our community. That's how we're establishing a community. Yeah, I hear what I'm saying. Because if we can't turn the neighborhood into the community, then we will just become another group or some other individuals in the neighborhood. Right? And it still won't be a community. It'll be another divisive mechanism within a certain territorial region. Now first we had this and that group, and now we got this group with this and that group. Right? So community is communication. Social sustainability. Turning something that's organized and scattered into a social sustainable force that can sustain itself against any and everything through consciousness. So when we're setting up a community, we're not setting up ourselves as the community. We're setting the community up as ourselves. Do y'all see the difference? For some, it's setting ourselves up as a community. Now we're the community. We got this and that house. And I guess we're the community. No. We got to set the community up as us. Now for some, you say, well, that sounds aggressive. Y'all trying to impose your ideas on other people. And, what about what they believe and what they think? Well, let's ask them that question for a change. You hear what I'm saying? Because since we believe we have the alternative ideas and that we're not clear about what we're standing on, we only ask that question in one direction. Because if we never said nothing to anybody and so-called mind our business, there will be people knocking at our doors saying what they wanted to say to us, period. Am I right? They're coming. people with other ideologies that are based on white supremacy, it's their job to proselytize and to propagate that, like the pilgrims did with the Native Americans. The spirit of this country is a crusade spirit. It's an evangelical spirit of a conquering type of Christian mindset in every person. It's in every person. So if you sit still long enough, somewhere the proselytizations of Christianity and capitalism will rear its face. Or the governmental structure, the de facto governmental structure of this society, it's going to come to you. Do you hear what I'm saying? You will be met by the ignorance of those that you ignore. Am I right? You will be. So it's not as opposed to we're going out with uniforms and going out and we're going to reach all these people and wake all these people up. No, they're coming to you to be woke up. You cannot get away from them amongst them. And they already have ideas that are white supremacists that need to be smashed as soon as they get to the door. Huh? Smash them. As soon as we see them, smash them. Excuse me, sit down, let me smash some of this stuff. Because if they don't have this setup, and whatever setup they don't have is not about black liberation, if whatever setup they have is not being supreme and us having our own and being independent, then something in them needs to be smashed. Am I right? Something. I'm not talking about negativity and violence. I'm just talking about having the courage to confront. The 3 C's. The confidence and the courage to confront. That's all I'm asking for. Don't just be the one that stand by on the side and watch and listen to bullshit. What are you so studied for? What are you studying? What are you studying if you cannot use the knowledge and the information that you have acquired at whatever level it is to challenge what you know is not true? You don't have to challenge at my level of knowledge. I've been studying this for over 14 years, consciously. It depends on how long that person has been studying. But if you're not willing to challenge them at your level of knowledge based on black supremacy, and sit back and be quiet and be silent, don't be mad when it is taken over. Don't be mad when we don't have nothing. Don't say it's being nobody's fault. Because it's not. I'm challenging whatever show up. Can anybody attest to that? I would tell them, I'm not no fucking Christian. It's not going to be confused. There's not going to be no confusion. I'm not under the Christian crusades of white supremacy. Huh? I'm not under that. I can tell them. How many of us can tell somebody that? I don't want you thinking I'm not a Christian. I don't want you thinking I'm not with this society, and I don't want you thinking I'm not with this government. I don't want you thinking I'm not with Obama, and I don't want you thinking that. I want you to think that. Matter of fact, I want you to know that. Do y'all hear me? Because if you know it, then you won't get it twisted. And if I make you know it, then now I'm not irresponsible for what will happen to you if you get it twisted. Huh? I'm saving your life. Because if you step to me in the wrong way with white supremacy, you're bound to get your goddamn head taken off your body. Do y'all hear me? So I better warn you through education of what this is. Do that make sense? That's fair, isn't it? I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Because just as they'll fight for what they believe in, which is the only thing that's standing in this society, is what those people will fight for that they believe in, then they need to know we'll fight for what we believe in too. So if you're going to come against this, you better come hard. You better come strong. Huh? So we got to be clear. And we got to stop letting sidebar stuff become the main theme. I got to teach now. We got to stop letting Judge Judy and Judge Mathis stuff become the main theme of what we're doing. Huh? This is not the Oprah show. This is the Black Supremacy show. I don't care about your relationships, who you fucked, who you didn't fuck, why you fucked them. I care about how you're going to take care of the black children that are in the world. Huh? I care about how you're going to be a contribution to society. I don't care about all that damn relationship drama. That's over with. Soon as it begins, it's over with, right? That's what they don't get. It's over with. At the point that you're talking about drama, it's over with. That's the solution. You don't see that it is over with. I'm here to let you know your conversation is over with. As soon as you start. That's why you're talking about this, because it's over with, ain't it? So now let's move on. Am I right? So I don't care about any of that. Men versus women and this woman and this man, and he should have told me this, and he didn't tell me that, and this, that, and the other, and I told you this, and I read the Bible, and this, and that, and the other. I don't want to give a fuck about none of that. You hear me? It's about black supremacy. I don't see any of that. I see black people that are responsible, that are accountable, and have the authority to create the type of change that we want to see in the world. If you're living and breathing, no matter what happened to you, no matter who you fucked, who fucked you, you are in a position right now to create world change and to stand for something that could be the difference of the destiny of your people. So I don't want to hear your sorry story. I don't want to hear about your victimization. I made a sum where I made up a list, and I said, list all your problems on there, from the biggest problem to the worst, and draw a line beside it, each and every one of them, and then list them and be in detail. Write everything that happened to you, how you was the victim, everything that went wrong, and then when you draw the line, right on there, I don't give a fuck. On every line. Huh? And now draw another line beside those lines. And write, what am I going to do now with my experience? Huh? Every line. What can I do right now? How can I take advantage of where I'm at right now? What's the beauty in where I'm at right now? What opportunities am I missing right now if I keep focusing on this? Put that on every line. This is not a psychological institution. Even psychologists, Sigmund Freud had to do cocaine to keep up with that shit. I won't be driven to use cocaine like Sigmund Freud. I'm not using it. Just tea. That's it for me. You're not going to make me a cocaine head trying to figure out your psychological problem. We have to stop all that. Life is simpler than that. You know what I'm saying? We killing people and fighting each other over nothing. Over nothing. Say a woman slept with another man. I can't believe this. I'm going to be mad for the rest of my life. Did your dick still get hard? Fuck somebody else. Huh? I know it sounds ignorant and it sounds bad, but I just got to keep it real. I'm tired of feeling sorry for people where we get so distracted in our pity parties and our misery love company that we can't get nothing wrong. And then we create social ideology out of our own personal pity parties. Now it becomes an ideology and a whole world view. Because you got fucked. Am I lying? Now it's a whole world view and way of life. Outside of the fact that we need to be liberating our people and focusing on who our real enemy is. That stuff has to end. We have to get to the end of that. Everybody is an adult. You know what the fuck you doing. when you was fucking and get the fuck past it. Is that too hard to callous to people? Then we can get back to work. Now we ain't got to call no police for no domestic disputes. We ain't got to kill each other. We ain't got to deal with any of that, do we? Because it's really about being black, and it's really about having black love. That's really what it's about. Not sexual partner love. Not marriage love. You can have that with white people. You can marry white people. Anything that you can have with a white person is insignificant to black supremacy. If you can do it with white people, whatever it is insignificant to black supremacy. It is not the main issue. Am I right? If a white person can understand the problem of it, and it makes sense to him of whether it is right or wrong, it has nothing to do with black supremacy. If Billy can come and say, well, I see where you're coming from, man. You follow? If Johnny can come and say, well, I understand that. That must be pretty awful. That must be feel pretty bad. That is not an issue of black supremacy. Black supremacy is the issue that he cannot understand. Well, I don't know. I can't relate. You know, I'm just a sorry fucker. I can't relate to anything that you're talking about. I mean, it must be pretty bad. I don't know. Kill me. Then we're talking about the right things. Do y'all hear me? Now we have the right conversation. Because that's the one thing he cannot relate to. That's the one thing that he cannot legislate. That's the one thing that he cannot interpret. He cannot mitigate. He cannot judicate. You follow what I'm saying? It's black supremacy. So we running off on all these other issues that are just social issues based on the context of white supremacy. Focus on black. Until we manifest black supremacy, and this is the interesting thing that I get from Neely Fuller, in reverse. Until we manifest black supremacy, there's something wrong with everything we're doing anyway. No matter whatever we think we're doing, until we manifest black supremacy, something's wrong with it anyway. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? He say till you understand white supremacy, you don't understand anything. I say until you manifest black supremacy, everything you do is wrong anyway. You don't have to worry about it. Yes, wrong. Relationship paradigm, yes, wrong. How you raising your kid? Yes, wrong already. You ain't got to worry about it. It was wrong when you got started because it wasn't based on black supremacy. We ain't got to worry about that. Now let's do black supremacy now. It's the only thing that requires somebody to get so in the present moment. There's no room for victims. That's why we say black supremacy is just against white supremacy. Black supremacy is even against its own loathing and victimization. Where the supreme aspect of an individual rise up beyond the negativities of one's own self. That's the healing. That's black supremacy. When I become triumphant and conquer the negative mindset and attitude, the victimization within myself, when I rise above that, when I find the supreme level within my own self, to rise above all that, to be able to be a contribution, to be an shining example, and to do something for somebody else. That's black supremacy. That takes me to another part. Forget about your goddamn self. That could be a whole lecture. I did a lecture called Kill Your Goddamn Self. That was too harsh. People couldn't get it. Now I'm just asking you something simple. Forget about your goddamn self. For a minute. We are all thinking we are Christians, Muslims, Judaism, Hindus. We think we all these things. Feminists, socialists, Marxists. But at the end of the day, we are all meists. You hear me? We are all really practicing our meology. Because if you sit two Marxists down, they're going to argue. If you sit two Christians down, they're going to argue. If you sit two Buddhists down, they're going to argue. So if they're really practicing Buddhism, why are they arguing? Because they really are practicing meology. The real religion of all of these ideologies and all these philosophies that mankind are practicing. The central theme of them is meology. Me is right and you is wrong. Me got it, you don't. Am I right? Me understand what you don't. Me is more important. It's about what me thinks. It's about what happened to me. It's about what me needs. It's about what me wants. It's meology. We become meologists. Forget about ourselves for just a moment, and guess what? We'll be alright. We'll be healthy. We'll be surprised. People taking medications that they don't even need. Why? Because they're meologists. They're so worried about me that they develop needs that they don't even have. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have so much shit in our house per person that we don't use. Because we didn't get it because we needed it. We got it because it was me. It's meology. Meology. I didn't get it because I needed it. I got it for me. The over narcissistic infatuation and focus with self is the cause of why we do so much unnecessary shit. Because that, we're thinking that we care about ourselves, right? But it really is low self-esteem. Because if you got to be that damn concerned about yourself all the time, then you really have low self-esteem. That's not self-love. You are always in need. You always don't have enough. You always want more. Right? That means you're really in lack. That's where the meology comes from. If you are okay, then you can worry about somebody else. Is everybody in here okay? Huh? If we are okay, then we can worry about, we can be concerned about someone else. See, until you're okay, you can't be a humanitarian. And for some of us, we need $1 billion to be okay. So we would have to be a superior capitalist before we can even get to the point of humanitarianism. But somebody that just need a cup of tea and a bowl of rice to be okay, I mean, they can share their rice with somebody else. And share their tea with somebody else. But if you need $1 billion to be okay, then you better not share your $10 with somebody else. Because you can't help anyone else really till you get to $1 billion. So while you can just buy a little bag of rice to feed somebody else, you will hold that $10. And the world will starve while you're trying to get $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? The meology, which turns into vanity. Gotta go into the vanity. Too much vanity out of low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. It leads to vanity. Everything we doing is vanity. If you were okay, you don't need as much vanity. The vanity is an exaggerated attempt to try to fix something that is not broken. To try to make something look good that was never ugly. Am I going in? But we say we have knowledge of self and that we are conscious and we know who we are a divine people. But we are hypocrites with our cosmetic attempts to make that a fact. I'm going in. Nefertiti was not selling Avon American. You think? She wasn't selling that. Our low self-esteem has us so focused on ourselves. That's where the individualism comes from. That we will never be able to be in a position to help somebody else. We are such in a personal deficit that we would have to eat the person that came for us to help. We would have to cook them. And after we ate them, we would still be hungry. That's the bigger deficit. So we say we want a relationship. We gotta go in. This just came to me. But we're trying to fulfill a void. We're not approaching coming to others out of the desire for service, to render service. We're approaching them out of our need to substantiate and validate who we don't think we are. Am I going in? We never associate service with relating to others. We associate getting. And when it ain't direct getting, it is possessing. Because some people don't realize that possessing is the same as getting. You just have it already. Possessing is the past tense of getting. So if you focus on possession, it's just magnified getting. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you hold it. Now your getting has become strong enough where you have grasp. So it's possessiveness. Not out of service. Just to give you an example, we talk about polygamy. The first thing the sister say is, I'm not sharing no man. She already didn't possess them. Ain't even got with them yet. Watch. What would be so radical if she said, well, I wonder how I would be able to serve a man that? Do you hear me? That question doesn't arise at all. Because it ain't about service. Or, I wonder how this man is able to serve other women that are in need of conscious and spiritual development. A service-orientated mentality. I'm going in now. I'm hurting some people. It's all right. You'll heal. We never think of it from a perspective of service, because we're not thinking about service. We're thinking about getting. I think the concept of marriage should be thrown out altogether. And we should be thinking how we can be developed by being in service of others. Do you follow what I'm saying? I'm going in now. We should become service orientated. The survival of the race is based on service. When a woman has a child, she serves another life coming into existence. Am I correct? So life is perpetuated through what? The act of service. Am I right? The act of getting stagnates the process of life. Service produces life. It's nothing that a woman could ever get from life that will be equivalent to her service of creating it. Am I correct? There's nothing valuable, no amount of money, no millions or billions of dollars, no vehicles, no vacation, nothing in this material world is equivalent in its value to a woman's ability to serve life by creating. Anybody want to debate me on that? I'm open. Challenge me on that. Nothing is a value to it. So if the whole value of life is service, because we're here because of those that served us. My mama's body was a service for me, right? To come here. And all her organs and, the umbilical cord, everything about her served me, right? In her womb. How much work did I do? Served me to come into being. Her body was of service. Am I teaching? So the very process of life itself is based on service. But the human consciousness has now amounted to getting. I don't understand that. We're here because we are served, but we are living to give. Well, since service was the beginning of our creation, some people can argue, okay, we came from God, we came from the spiritual world. All these things can be argued by different theologists, different philosophers, different people of different spiritual backgrounds. We can argue that, but we will never argue the service that was involved in us coming into existence. Everybody can agree on that. It's so much of a service that a woman can decide whether she is going to serve or not. Am I right? That's how you know it's a service, when you can decide to do it or not. If I don't want to do it, I have an abortion. I don't want to be of service. Right? Or I can use some type of contraceptive. Right? I don't want to be of service to life. I want to be served by life. I want to get non-reciprocal. I'm here to get. That has become the average mentality. Something served us to get here. We're here to get. Now, even us that are conscious, I'm going to take it out of the biological process. Even us that are conscious, we are conscious because of somebody's service. Be it Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Jew Ali. Their service played a role in our consciousness. Am I right? What are they getting from their life now that they're dead? Are they getting something from their life now that they're dead? No. But we are where we're at because of their service. So their service to life was even more valuable than their life as it served them. Am I right? Because their service to life will continue for thousands of generations into the future. Is this correct? But if they lived to getting, and their life was more about getting than being of service, what will we have right now? Are they remembered because of what they got? Or are they remembered because of how they served? Can somebody help me with that? Oh, is that right? They remember. How many millionaires do we remember from around garbage time? Somebody? Any of us know the Fortune 5 list from around when garbage was? Somebody help me out. So he's not remembered because of what he got. We know the Black Star Line failed. Even the material that he got to ship sunk. This Black Star Line ship sunk. So we don't remember him for that. And that's what he got. He got a ship to experience and trade, international trade among African people. How many gurus do we remember because of the organic farm they had? How much land and how many cauliflower they turned off? Help me out. Why are the people that were of service so valuable? And the value of their service is social service. Am I right? Because no matter whether they planted gardens or built houses, the biggest thing we remember is their service to society. Che Guevara did a lot of things, from gardening to military warfare, military fighting, from being a doctor. He did a lot of things. But if I mention his name, the one that stands out the most is his social service to cause revolution for the people. Am I correct? His social, sustainable, revolutionary society is why he's remembered, because Cuba is free to this day from American imperialism. That's what we know. Keep son in love with you, we don't know what the hell he did, literally, but we know he played a major role in it, right? We know there was a lot of social service. And all of them that we don't know nothing that they did, specifically, we know it has something to do with some social service. Am I correct? Is that something that can be said consistently about all of them that I can name that you don't even know what they did specifically? Can we all agree that why they are so important is because of their social service? So how can we know this as a fact? As a secret, the secret to greatness as an individual and the secret of greatness as a society.
How can we know that it's a fact that it's a social service, but we can live day to day in meology about what I'm getting? If that are not a contradiction of what we know to be true, have we been so overcome by materialistic desires and passions and, and our own narcissism and ego that we cover up the fact that we know all greatness ends and begins in social service and service to others? And that ain't just a black fact. That's a universal fact. You name them white, black, Chinese, Asian, Cuban, Hispanic, name any of them. And we're not clear what they did, many of us, based on our historical knowledge. But we can jump right to the answer. Social service. You get an A every time. What did Mother Teresa do? Social service. Yeah, you got it. Let me try another one. Dalai Lama. Social service. What about Dr. Mallory Travis? Do you know exactly what he did on the land? No, but he's social service. Oh, okay. You got all the answers. You got all the answers. But you're not the goddamn answer. You hear me? You got all the answers, but you're not the goddamn answer. And the goal ain't to be better than no one else in this life. Because sometimes it's persecution. Some people say, I see all the work you're doing on Facebook, Noble, you're so famous. I said, correct that, infamous. I'm not famous. Not famous at all. If people don't have a gut feeling of disturbance when they hear my name, I ain't did nothing. They got a gut feeling of disturbance by being challenged in a comfort zone of mediocrity to white supremacy. So they don't know me from slapping them, from giving them a massage and rubbing their back and stroking they don't know me from saying what they want to hear as being a politician. They don't know me as being that one good guy with good charisma with a nice smile. They know me for jumping on each one of their fucking toes. You feel me? So they realize that I have feet and I need to stand on them. That's what they realize. So it ain't about being liked or being the best, this, that, or the other, or having the most, this, that, and the other. It's about the authenticity of rendering service and exemplifying the highest capacity and capability in man. Because it ain't even that it ain't even that we can add up yourself to us. Watch. We all agree that all the people that I named, it was social service, right? Even Bob Marley, social service. How he served the community. He couldn't sing really that good. Let's be honest. Bob Marley was not that good of a singer. That will hurt some people. See, that's why I'm infamous, because I say shit like that. But the social, the compassion, the authenticity, the truth, the realness in the message and in his heart that was conveyed in the music is what made him valuable. Am I right? Am I right? Take Bob Marley. Who sounds better, Bob Marley or Mahalia Jackson? Huh? Who has a greater vocal range? I'm going into this. Is Bob Marley so powerful because of his vocal range? Somebody help me with that. Maybe I'm a little bit confused. Huh? Is it because of his vocal range? Was his music that complex as Beethoven or Mozart? Was there that much complexity in the orchestration of his music? No. I'll answer it for y'all. It was the realness and authentic humanness and compassion and love that he displayed, even through his voiceless voice. And his music was music. we cannot deny that Bob Marley was an authentic, genuine, compassionate, real human being. And that's what came through his music. Am I right? That's a fact. The social service. We don't even know how much social service people did. But they exemplify the power of being able to activate the social server within ourselves. That's important. Some of us have got so caught up into ourselves, into the reality, we have got sick. That's what hypochondria is. That's what hypochondria is. You get so caught up into yourself that you're sick. I told this story the other day. I said, you got this one person, this one lady, she's 60 years old. And she's been doing service. I usually use my mother as an example, because she used to look out for the elderly. Help them. Go and just do services for them in their time of sick leave. And a lot of times, the person that she was helping would be like 8 years older than her. You follow what I'm saying? I even seen some cases where she was helping somebody younger than her that was elder. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm going with this? What's the difference? The reality is either you use or lose. By her rendering service, in the moment of rendering service, you cannot have the thought of being in lack simultaneously. You have to be in a state of auto self-centeredness to be in lack. You cannot be in a state of giving and rendering services to others and be in lack at the same time. You want to become invincible? Forget about yourself. You want to become sickly? Focus on nothing but yourself. And you'll see every little pain in your body. And it will be exacerbated and exaggerated into infirmity. You follow what I'm saying? But serve somebody else. Through the service of others. We affirm and we celebrate our own health. Through the service of others. So while she was serving others and realizing her ability to serve, she could not simultaneously hold the thought that I am sick. I couldn't be sick if I'm serving others. I couldn't be broke if I'm feeding others. I couldn't have pain if I'm relieving the pain of others. You can't have both thoughts at the same time. So there is healing and health. I'm going in now. Some people want healing. They're looking for medication. There's healing and helping. Don't nobody talk about that. I used to stand out in the cold in below 40-degree weather and lecture. I didn't even realize that I was cold because I was so busy teaching. I could not even feel my own body. I wasn't even concerned about myself. I was, like they say, present to being a God and absent to self. I'm going in. God is the great helper and the great server. So when I was present to being a God and absent to self, I couldn't even feel pain or infirmity or sickness. I was healed instantaneously because the healer cannot be sick. So I canceled out error thought, like they say in Christian Science. I went above the illusion of being sick, of error, of having an error thought about myself in the process of being of service to others. I couldn't get my mind to hold the thought that was something wrong with me and I'm fixing what's wrong with others. Y'all hear me? Mm-hmm. There is healing in helping. We talk about healing in herbs. Healing in your diet. Healing in food. Which all equal to healing in consumerism. Healing through consumerism. We never talk about healing and helping. Why they don't talk about that? Because they don't want to do it, goddamn. Because if I start talking about healing and helping, then you got to do something. That's the only thing that requires you to do something. Every other thing is a product that somebody else has produced, right? It's something you gotta buy, you gotta get on the internet and order that, and where do I get that from? Somebody's exercise routine. I gotta learn out how to do that. But when I say it's healing and helping, you got everything that you need right now. There is healing in helping. Because by helping others, you rise beyond your hypochondria, your belief in your own sickness. And you tap a capacity that is inside of you that is greater than you thought that it was. And that self cannot be sick. There's healing in helping. The greatest healing is in helping. Because any healing that you get, the best healing that you will ever need, will come from somebody else's helping. Am I right? Because if you're well enough to help yourself, then you're really not even that sick. Right? Because you got the cure in you, right? But if you're too sick to help yourself, then where does your cure come from? Somebody else's help. So the ultimate healing is in help. Am I correct? Whether you helping yourself or helping somebody else, the healing is always helping. The healing is in the helping. You want to heal your spirit, heal your soul of your selfishness and your karma that is leading to disease through self-guilt, causing disease and self-guilt. The disease of worry and stress through guilt, which leads to a dense composition, a dense temperament. You have this foggy, dense vibration over you because of your past, because of things that you did in the past that you felt like was wrong. And this state of guilt that is over you is causing disease in your mental state. It's causing disease in your body. The only cure for that is to help somebody else. Because through helping, you alleviate the disease, the dis-ease, the imbalance. And by sharing healing, you cause surges of spiritual and emotional healing to move through your body while you are being at the aid and assistance of. Am I going in tonight? When you helping others, you see people that help others, they seem to be so patient, peaceful, and tolerant, and happy. Seem like they blister. Am I lying? Don't something seem so calm and composed about them? Even a nurse in a white supremacist establishment. Isn't there a calm composure about her? Look at the school teacher that's not getting paid enough for her job. Don't you see something in her countenance that's just like kind of calm and composed? She's healed through helping. There's healing in the helping. And the type of healing that we need in the community will only come from those that will stand up and what? Oh, is that right? Got some geniuses in here. I don't even need to speak no more. Healing and helping. That's the only healing that does not need consumerism. You want to heal overweightness? Help yourself from the plate. You don't need to buy nothing. Huh? It's not funny. It's craving this is. You want to heal yourself from anorexia? Help yourself to the plate. Right? You want to heal yourself with bulimia? Help yourself to continue to digest the food. The healing is always at the end of help. We think money is the healer. If I get money, I can be healthy, and if I buy this, I'm going to be healthy. Bullshit. You won't be healthy until you can start healthy. If you don't know. Because you heal your mind simultaneously. You can't heal the body without healing the mind. And there's no permanent healing until you can permanently change your way of life. Am I right? And if you spend more time helping than eating, then you're going to lose weight. If you spend more time helping and hurting, what's going to happen? pain goes away. If you spend your mind, yourself, spend your time more helping than with meology, then you can heal mental illness in 24 hours. You want to heal mental illness and mental problems within inside the self? Forget about your damn self and help somebody else. I'm going in with you. We can heal mental illness in 24 hours if we just got every crazy person to help somebody else that they thought was crazy. And get them crazy people to help somebody else that they thought was crazy. Am I right? This family is narcissism, being caught up in people's mind, being caught up in their own mind too much. It's okay to come outside and play. It's okay to come out of that and come into a world where we can help and create an effect. We're eating on our own mental digestive system versus feeding the world. That's all I'm saying. Those are the type of people. That's the type of consciousness that will be a shining example of black supremacy. It's a helping reality. No getting at all. But what about me? That's what's going to pop up in somebody's mind. Precisely. It's all about helping. And through helping, what? We have. All this is about is helping. I only have a place to live because I can help other people have a place to live. I only have food to eat because I can help other people have food to eat. Is that correct? Is that not what is happening? So figure out ways how we can help others and we'll have everything and more of everything that we need. Literally. Effortlessly. And it's not that some people say, well, I ain't helping them niggas. Some of them don't need nothing. They got money and they not doing what they should be doing with their money, and why should I help them? I ain't gonna waste my time. Because those are the ones that need to be helped. Because they need to be helped, get the contagious spirit of helping. Right? You need to help those who have more than those who don't have. Because if you get those who have to start helping, then there'll be less of those who don't have for you to help. Do y'all hear me? You think you just gotta help the people that don't have, and then you can't find them. Let us say we don't have a food, we're gonna cook food and go feed the homeless. Why can't we find out one homeless person? Am I right? Make some food, you can't find out one person that's hungry the day you made it. You can't find nobody to give a plate to. The key is give the plate to anybody. Get anybody in the spirit of helping. Because you're trying to change consciousness. You're not just trying to change people's physical condition. Because if you change consciousness, there'll be less physical conditions to change. The key is to change the consciousness of the world, not just a temporary material situation. The material world is temporal. Consciousness is permanent. It's permeating, right? So we're not just trying to fix this or that situation. We're trying to create a new wave of transformation in the universe by how we direct our energy. Our giving will inspire those who have more than us to give. And once the giving starts, all the hoarding ends. All the lack ends. All the limitation ends immediately. Why are those rich people going to give? Because when they see the givingness in the simplest of people, when they see the poor man give his sandwich, right? And they say, damn, I know if you can give your goddamn sandwich, what type of person am I? I know if you can give a sandwich and you hungry and you're crib, I know I can do something. Giving the last, bringing closure this of the healing and helping. I read a book by Frank Victor, living in the concentration camps, and how in starvation he was able to share his food while he was totally depraved and totally starved himself. He was actually able to take the only food he had and give it to a sick and dying man. And he was probably equally sick. And the man he gave it to lived long. And he lived. He went beyond his own desperation and deprivation in a concentration camp. And I'm about to go in on this one. To help somebody else. And this was a crack. Of course it was. So I'm not trying to big up the crack, but I'm just the principle. He survived the concentration camp because his real nutrition was his spirit. You know what I'm saying? In Temple, in the black community, we feel like that we have been so much in slavery and we have not had nothing. Somebody told us that and we believe that part. That we have become so materialistic. The least of us. That's what we live for. That's what's valued to us. We got this temple, and these temples as places to help people and to be of help. And not help people by giving them something better material. I'm about to go in. But we're about to help them into helpership. We're not feeding their consumerism. We're feeding their humanitarianism through the type of giving that we give. Because if we turn them into helpers, which is the infinite aspect of themselves, which is already rich, because you have an infinite ability to help forever, right? To be of service. So you can provide billions of services as long as you're able to help. So you're already wealthy as a helper. We're bringing them into helpership. We're taking them out of the loop and the cycle of consumerism, lack, worry, stress, doubt, and then turning them into something that is complete. The helper is always complete because they always have all that it is that they need to help. Am I right? The consumer is never complete. The businessman is never complete because they always trying to get more and more money. It's never enough money. I always need more. And my overhead eats that up. So I need to get more. And the consumer is never happy because the product is really never really good enough. And if I don't have it in every color, if I don't have the shoe in every color, then what? I don't have enough. I got to go out and get the red one. Then I need the blue ones. So the consumer is always incomplete. What about the helper though? The businessman is incomplete. The consumer is incomplete. The helper is always complete. Because they always can do something to help. The businessman is stressed. The consumer is stressed. The helper is the only person that can relieve the stress of the businessman or the consumer. Once we have turned you into helpership, we have freed you from the stress of the businessman and the consumer. Am I correct? And we form a collective teaching. We're trying to make helpers. Not people worried about themselves. And people that can help from any vantage point. Good or bad. A 5-star hotel. Or in the sewages of Vietnam. I'm going in now. White supremacy is about bettering your condition as an individual. Am I right? Black supremacy is about bettering the condition of the world we have. Big difference. We live to help and to endure what makes us help amongst ourselves and among the world. That is the solution. We're not going to solve the problem, and it was a good point came earlier, by an exchange of resources. from the rich and the poor. We're going to solve the problems of the world by changing its way of life to being one that is helping itself versus aggrandizing its individualism. You see what I'm saying? So the way of the world has to change. It is not a resource distribution problem. It is a vantage point problem. It's where people are coming from. As long as they're coming from a position of lack, they're always going to suck up the resources and suck up the land. And when the poor become rich, they're going to do the same thing that the rich do. Right? But it won't be till the rich and the poor both become helpers when we help the problem of the world. That's the reality. And what makes us all equal is not in how much material and wealth we have, but that we all have the ability to help somebody else to wherever point you're at. And if each one of us can just help the next man, help the next man, help the next man, and is living and centered in helping the next one, the chain of help will be completed. And the world would have achieved superior self-love and superior humanitarian service. If that isn't still. The poor man is sticking up somebody when they got plenty of food in the house. Am I right? They got enough food where they can actually put it together and feed somebody else that is actually hungry. They thinking they're poor because they don't have jewelry, they don't have a gold chain, they don't have a plasma television, they don't have anything. They thinking they're poor, and they got enough in their kitchen to feed somebody that really is hungry. The helpership dispels the illusion that poverty is a reality. I once heard a reggae song that he said, the wealth of the rich man is in the city, and the wealth of the poor man is in his heart. You know what I'm saying? The illusion of poverty disappears. See, that's one thing the wealthy and the poor have in common. They both have the illusion of poverty. The poor man believes that they are poor. That's made up. But the poorest person in America is eating better than the poorest person somewhere in Africa, right? So this poverty is an illusion that he believes in. The rich man believes in poverty because he's trying to get rich to avoid being poor and to avoid being associated with poor. So poverty is the problem of the rich and the poor. They're both illusions that limit an individual from tapping the highest power, the highest creativity that is inside of them to be of the best benefit to humanity in any situation and circumstance that they will ever exist in. Am I right? They both suffer from the same delusion. We don't have to give more to the poor to change the world. We got to give more to the poor black people. We must dispel the illusion of poor poverty among black people and know that they can help themselves to help themselves to help themselves to create their own reality. And that's the wealthiest one that they will ever be able to live in. Any other one will continue to be poverty. You know why the wealthy and the poor man are both in a state of poverty? Because they both are depending on something that is outside themselves. The helper is only depending on what is inside themselves. Am I correct? The poor man is dependent on the economy, the stocks, the businesses, Wall Street. The poor man is dependent on the stocks, businesses, Wall Street. I just don't have it. They won't give me the job. I don't know what to do. Right? The poor man is dependent on that. The rich man is dependent on that. What is the helper dependent on? Themselves. What if the poor men in Africa stopped being concerned about what was going on in the Western world and depended on themselves to build their own society? What would happen? Interesting. So do we just throw money on them, or do we spread helpership? To teach you. If we spread money, we spread white supremacy. Federal Reserve banks and Rothschilds and all, but if we spread helper shit, we will see that society developed overnight. You picking up that brick? Well, I can help you. We all can help you with this brick and build a house. You gardening? I can help you garden. We all can help. You doing that? I can help you do that. And the society will be changed overnight through helpership. Otherwise, they all sitting around waiting on white Jesus to come back in the form of rice being thrown from planes. Black supremacy is spread helpership. So it tells the person to become selfless and forget about yourself and start to help. Forget about how much money you want to make, what your status is, how you look in society, how you compare to others, how you fit up to them. Forget all of that and help. Whether you old, young, crippled, crazy, blind, senior citizen, help. Be helped too. Be helped too. Receive the help. But help where you can help. And be helped where you can be helped. Everybody needs help. As arrogant, as egotistical as we may be at whatever times. But even those in the most need of help can help in some significant way too. You follow? So none of us are thrown by the wayside. None of us are valueless. And none of us are just codependent or just completely dependent on others with no reciprocal opportunity to make our needed and necessary contributions at home. Huh? Black supremacy is a helpership-orientated society. We don't care what you want, what you need. We only care about how you can help, and we only care about how we can help. It's all about that. Somebody said that people in Africa, they don't have no medication, no nothing. They just get off strong. We are so narcissistic, we have a pill for everything. Right? We got multiple pills for everything. We got a pill to blink. Am I right? I got a pill to grit my teeth. A pill to scratch my head. I'm about to scratch my head. Let me get a pill. Because we are so narcissistically self-centered on ourselves that we have become dependent on an illusion to exist. It's all a placebo. Because I'm wearing this, I look better. Because I'm driving this, I look better. Because I'm doing this, I look better. But I don't see men and women flocking around you. How much better do you look with it? Am I right? Where's the exaggerated effect of how consumerism is making people better, making people like that? All you get from people is, I like that, that looks nice, and they keep going. Remember when we was younger, we thought we was going to put on that one outfit that was going to change the world. Like when I wear that, the world won't be the same. When I wear them gym shoes with that combination, I know y'all had to think like that. When I put that on, it's going to be a revolution. We went outside, we wore it, people said, that's nice. And we went back home. Wow, we begin to start to see the elusiveness of the material world. You know what I'm saying? We begin to see its illusory nature. That we're trying to grasp something through it, but we still end up with nothing, which is the same thing. And that the greatest thing that we are supposed to get is not going to come from the material world. It's going to be what we put into it by the type of consciousness that we can sustain inside our own minds. That's the greatest benefit that we can give to the world, is a solid mind. Because the solid mind is what it is made of. It's its constitution. It's not what we get from it by what we do, but what we can constantly and consistently give to it. That's why black supremacy is a stance. We're never going to get black supremacy from the people. But if we give it to the people, constantly, repeatedly, solidly, then we'll get it back from them. Eventually, they're going to start saying what? Black supremacy. I was looking out the window to the temple the other day, and I heard some brother out there. He said, well, black supremacy, black art. And there was nobody from this temple. It was just some of the brothers that be here, and I had to look out the window. I said, what? Did he just say that? He might have not said it at all. My consciousness just may be making the whole shit up. He may have said something that sounds similar to it. But what's my point? Once your consciousness becomes solid, you start really living in the world that you intend to create instantly. It gets to the point where you can't even hear or see nothing else. So you make it that. And to go deeper, until our mind becomes solid, we will not have the perceptual framework to see how the world can be changed. Because we're seeing something that is in opposition to what we want to bring about as solid. You follow what I'm saying? But when you can see what you want to, when you can see the state as being liquid and open to what you want to bring about, when you have that perceptual framework, then we can create accelerated change. So we got to look at the position that our people in and affirm in our own consciousness that it is perfect for change. We can't look and see gangbangers, these type of individuals, that type of individual, and look at them, look at that construct. We got to look at, man, that's perfect for change. Because then what will you implement if you affirm that? But if you keep looking at it as something that's out of the context of the change you want to make, because you don't have grasp over your mind, it will never change. So we keep looking out there and we keep seeing dramas, relationship dramas, just niggerisms and just nobody doing nothing. And they're not talking about nothing, and that ain't nothing. We're not seeing that's perfect for change. You know what's going on right there? That's perfect for change. If we start doing that, then it will cause us to start acting and implementing that which is perfect for change. But if we're seeing opposite to opportunity, if we see an opposite of opportunity, we don't have the options to optimize. Do you hear me? If we see in the opposite of opportunity, we don't have the option to optimize. Those are O's we should remember. Those are some important O's. If we see the opposite of opportunity, we don't give ourselves the option to optimize. So we got to stop seeing solids and start seeing perfect for change. America went over to Libya. They said Libya is perfect for change. They weren't thinking a bit more about it. Egypt is perfect for change. We look out our window, we say niggas don't want nothing. Right? Them niggas don't want nothing. Them just niggas. We ain't just niggas. We just talking about black supremacy in the temple. Nothing but niggas all around. They just want money, and eventually I'm gonna have to get some of it and give some of it to them. Is that the real attitude that the people are having? I ain't talking to them about that. They don't want to hear that. They just niggas and they don't just, look at that. I'm going back in the house. We have to see perfection for change. In all situations. Not even just in dealing with people. We got to see perfection for change even within our own things. So that's the energy that I want to give to on this particular lecture. Standing on black supremacy, and it is not just some security regimen. That's the difference between it being an organization and a real life. Security can be organized. You know what I'm saying? Militancy is ongoing. We are always on security. And not physical security from physical approaching enemies, attacking us. That never happens. We are on mental security to maintain standing solidly and wholeheartedly in the state of black supremacy consistently. That's the security that we're implementing. It would be every room. I'm going in every room to stand on black supremacy. I know that sounds simple. I'm going in the washroom. I'm going to go in the washroom and sit on black supremacy. I'm going to take a shit next, but I'm going in there to be on black supremacy first. I'm not going in the kitchen to eat. I'm going to the kitchen to stand on black supremacy. Then I guess I might get me something to eat while I'm in there. Y'all hear me? Is that black radical extremism? I'm not going to bed. I'm going to, black supremacy, and I guess I'll sleep while I'm there. Huh? Black supremacy should be situated, the center from which all other action arises. Because that will clarify consciousness. So you will not fall victim to the other things. Because somebody waved a sausage in front of you. You say, well, I'm going to get on black supremacy, then I can't eat that sausage because I said black supremacy. I can't do what is against black supremacy if everything I'm doing is arising from the central point of what? Black supremacy. That's what everything else arises from. All of the actions come from black supremacy. All other actions. And that will fix a mind that has constantly made concessions and compromises and keep seeing something else other than black supremacy. Am I right? That will repair the mind. That is a constant, ceaseless meditation. So you say, I'm going outside, I'm walking down the street to be on black supremacy. Nothing can arise other than black supremacy with that type of consciousness and emotion. That's the security that I'm talking about. Not standing on this or that or post. That's unnecessary. Where the consciousness of black supremacy is solid, this is impenetrable. What we're doing is impenetrable. That's the type of security that we implement. We get on Facebook, I'm getting on Facebook to push this black supremacy. Whatever we do must be from the center point of the meditation and focus on black supremacy. Because that means whatever we're doing is affirming and solidifying that which it arises from naturally. With no distractions. With no confusion. That's why it's a temple of meditation, a black supremacy meditation that leads to a black supremacy way of life. That is the exemplification and the manifestation of world change for black people. So I want to thank you all for coming tonight and being here. I'll open this up if anybody has any questions or anything that I should have touched on, that I haven't touched on. This would be the perfect time for that to happen before I end it. Speak now, forever hold your warfare. Once again, we invite people to step out of the matrix and come into black supremacy. That's the only thing here to come into. There's nothing else. We don't have anything else. We don't have anything else here. All we have to offer is black supremacy. That's it. We have nothing else to offer anybody. If you're looking for it, maybe the white man got it. You should check there first. If you want black supremacy, we got that. That's all we have. That's all we will ever have. We can't guarantee anything like that. But we can't guarantee anything less than that either. Why? Because once you come up here, you become the guarantor of it and that it is here too. So it's not a matter of coming here looking for black supremacy. It's a matter about coming here being black supremacy. Within yourself. And that beingness in it and as it, projects it. You follow what I'm saying? Authors it. Creates it. You can't see nothing but it once you tap into the beings other within yourself. It becomes your central point of focus. And even when people are doing stuff at that moment don't look like to us that it is black supremacy, we see it from the vantage point and where we can act upon it in a way where it can be steered to black supremacy. You know what I'm saying? That's just how the black supremacist mind works. As black supremacist minded, conscious individuals, we automatically have the reverence. We can't help but to have it from a black supremacist meditation. Because that's what we see, black supreme beings. That's what's on our mind eye. If you focus on red all day, you look out your window, you see number red cars. You focus on black supremacy all day, all you see is black supreme beings and black supreme consciousness around you. And it's not that you see it that is so important, that how you respond to create it based upon your vantage from the skin. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not what the abstract artist sees, but it's how what they see that causes them to create the art. Am I right? It's not what the abstract artist sees. It's not that they see. It's that how they respond to what they see that creates the masterpiece. So that means we gotta have a mind that can see in a way where we will respond to create the very thing that we are looking to see. And that's the proper consciousness, because of what you see inhibits you from creating. If it tells you that you can't, that it's impossible, that it is unlikely, then you have defeated yourself before you even got started. We call it defeated attitude. And we're not asking people to understand black supremacy from the point of an ideology. We're asking people to understand black supremacy from the point of being a black supremacist. Because only the true black supremacists can understand black supremacy. Did I go in on that? No person that's just studying ideologies. You can lay Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity and lay them all aside. And maybe the religious theologist, right? Or the person that is studying religion, maybe they can look at Buddhism and Christianity and see the similarities and understand religions. But if you lay black supremacy on the table within other religions, they will be totally confused and discombobulated. Because only the black supremacists can understand black supremacy. Am I right? So we're not asking you as an ideologist, as a scholar. We're not asking you as an intellectual, as a philosopher. We're asking you as a black supremacist, what do you think about black supremacy? Ain't that deep? Because if it is in your heart, and if it is you, you can only understand it by bringing it up and out of you. You can't understand it out here. You need 3D glasses. Huh? And the 3D glasses, the three-dimensional glasses, is really your own consciousness, allowing you to see into the reality of things as a black supremacist. Only the black supremacists can understand to the end. For others, it's only an ideological notion. Only the hero can understand being a hero. What it feels like for the greatness in you to come out of you, to pour out of you, to help liberate, awaken, and save others. Only one in that moment, right? Knows what that feels like and what that is, right there. And if you ain't got that right there, I don't care what you're doing up here. It's only in the moment when the black supremacist is activated is black supremacy understood. Huh? Only in the moment when the hero is activated is the hero understood. Only in the act of helping is the one of compassion understood. Only can selfless love be understood through selfless action. Only the black supremacists can understand black supremacy. And I came up with one called the highest, all the yogic austerities is meditative devotion. I'm going in there. Because through all the other ones, you may get spiritual power. You know what I'm saying? Dexterity. Some psychic ability. But the devotional service, meditative devotion, is the substance of being a divine being. You know what I'm saying? We don't associate a divine being with the psychic powers. Because a magician can do that, right? At a circus. What makes the divine being different from people just using psychic powers and people with dexterity and circuses, people that can walk on water or walk through fire, is the compassion that makes them a magnetic being. The compassionate spirit that attracts human beings in seek of liberation and transcendence to them, right? So it is the quality of human transcendence is the highest power of the yogi, of the guru. Am I right? The rest of them are bland. I can look at you in the circus for a few minutes. I saw you walk on fire. That's good. It's over with. But that love and devotion in the eye of the guru, the benevolence, is the substance of enlightenment. The character of enlightenment. You got the magic of enlightenment, the abilities of enlightenment, the siddhis. You know what I'm saying? Like what they say the yogis do. They have these different siddhis where they can do these supernatural things. But that ain't the character. That's not the character of enlightenment. The character of enlightenment is what we see in this in the spirit of Muji, in the spirit of Osho. Right? The spirit that we see in great beings. The character of enlightenment. Right? How do you get that? Through devotional service, which is the most selfless of the path of the austerity. It is the most selfless. Let me show you how. And it comes with all the other gifts of the other ones. See, the other ones only give you the one gift that they give you. Okay, now I can walk on water. Now I can levitate. Now I can walk on fire. I can walk on glass. They only give you the one that you're going. Devotional service gives you all of them. The devotional service is the most selfless one because the rest of them is based on self-getting and achieving something. It's still self-interest. I want to be able to walk on water. I want this particular spiritual power, right? They're all about self, obtaining something. The devotional service is the only one going beyond self to give something. It's the only one that goes beyond the reality of self. We say we go beyond the reality of self by going in a state of meditation where we go beyond our ego. No, you don't. Because you come back from that after meditation. You come back into self. The only waking one, the only waking austerity to go beyond self constantly and continually is devotional service. Am I right? Mm-hmm. You are going beyond self 24 hours a day. Meditation, you get a glimpse of selflessness while you are in that asana. Yoga, while you are in that posture. Then you come back, and all the things of the ego come back with it. All the selflessness, the selfness of the world returns when you come back. It's all there, all the problems and all that. But through devotional service, mm-hmm. You go beyond yourself in the service of others constantly. Mm-hmm. And the self is forgotten in the wholeheartedness render of service to others throughout your whole day. Mm-hmm. Wow. People cook so much food, they forget, wait a minute, I'm not even hungry. Mm-hmm. They say, when I cook, I'm not even hungry. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because you forgot, you went beyond yourself. Mm-hmm. Out of the desire to serve others. And you got full off of knowing that you've already served others and that they're going to eat. You're full. Mm-hmm. Devotional service is the only way that you can live beyond self. You can live transcending self. And it's the only way on this plane, I'm about to go in, that you can live in a transcendental state. The only reason to continue to live on this plane from the vantage point of this transcendental state is through what? Devotional service. You are given a body and given a physical form and given this illusion to go beyond it through the use of it. Mm-hmm. Used properly, it transmutes itself into higher spiritual existence and higher spirituality through the use of it and going in. It's the only thing, the self is the only thing that you can use and go beyond it using it properly. You use these glasses, they just glasses. And you just have the use of glasses. You use this cup, it's just a jar, it's just water. The best way you can use it. It remains what it is, and it remains in the objectification and in the form that it's in. The self used properly takes you beyond it instantly. It transmutes you to a greater reality and a greater dimension and a greater awareness and a greater cosmic realization that you had before you used it, before you picked it up. Mm-hmm. So once the self arises, it must be used to transcend itself. If not, it is a prison. Huh? Mm-hmm. And that's why people get in prison in their own problems, circumstance, worries, and confusions, because they cannot use the self as a vehicle to go beyond itself. Wow. Through daily operation. We must achieve selflessness. People die. We worry about the death of others because we fear our own death, not because we care about them. We fear what death has to offer. So it is our attachment to self, right? That we fear the transitions of other people into the afterworld. It's out of self-fear. Out of selflessness, we already have transcended. And we know that there is no escape from the inescapable. So we are all equal. No one escapes it. Who worries about the inescapable? Huh? Only those who are imprisoned in a self, in a parenthesis, in infinity, which is an illusion, a small part of an infinite equation. Somewhere we get caught up into that. The only proper use of self, spiritually, is to devotional service. We can go and meditate, do our yoga. It's our devotional service that carries us throughout the whole day. The more selfless acts, the more transcendental experiences that we will have. The less fear, pain, suffering, doubt, and misery. Because all of these things need a self that is struggling to survive through its attachment to materialistic things, to personal things, to personality, personal situations, comfortable situations. But when you go into service, you go beyond your own situation. And you are situated in a divine, infinite self that can serve all. That's enlightenment. And out of the service, superior strength comes. If I gotta save somebody that's crushed under a car, then I have superior strength to lift that car up. That's more strength than I needed. If I gotta walk on water to get somebody, I can forget that I can't walk on water to get them. I can forget that I can go through fire to get them. I can not be shot, not be harmed out of the love, compassion, and devotion. It takes me beyond myself, my own mortality, feebleness, and limitedness, to live in the devotion, in the meditative devotion. That is the highest austerity for the human soul on this physical plane. There's healing and helping. Devotion is the highest spiritual and liberating way of life. While meditation and yoga may be of the highest practices, devotion is the highest way of life and living in a transcendental state, consciousness, bliss. Black supremacy.